Thank you for taking the time to click on L.O.R.E. Please subscribe here and don't forget to follow us on twitch.tv/LoreLivePlay.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
In my tummy.
Nom, 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 nom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode of the Guise of Untamed Beasts. I am your Dungeon Master, Mathew Garro, and here with me are my players.
Hello.
Let's see. Hello and welcome. Below me we have Roxanne.
Hey guys, I'm Roxanne. I played Moon in Acid Ventura.
Next up we have Jody.
Hi, I'm Jody Kringle, and I play L.O.R.E Rose, a human, cleric, who makes a lot of cookies and kisses boo-boos.
Next up we have Dio.
Hello, I'm Dio. I play Azazel. He's a hobgoblin, he's a wizard, he's a great dancer, and not a great conversationalist.
And last but not least we have Chris.
If I look this way, I can do it right. Oh, hi, L.O.R.E. I'm Chris. I play Trovic, the confused barbarian minotaur that thinks he's an orc, I think.
It's always such a fun way to introduce that concept.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, due to some technical difficulties last session, we're gonna, recap and pick up right where we left off last time.
Yeah, let me real quick address the situation to anybody watching. You're gonna see some video lag and probably some audio lag. It's gonna happen. The computer is cursed. I bought it used from the Nine Hells, and if it gets bad, we're gonna drop the music ambience background and just cross our fingers that it'll keep allowing us to play without the music, so we apologize for that lack of luster, but don't forget we roll for extra life, so there's always that.
I'm so desperately trying to come up with a computer-based joke around the Curse of Strahd, and I can't do it.
Oh my
It's okay.
god, you can't?
It'll come to you.
It's such a specific thing, I can't...
It's too specific.
You have to stop thinking about it in order to figure
Something
it out.
stumped Dio. Oh my
And-
god.
Oh, Neo. Stumped the Dio.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy? Remember when I was stumped and couldn't think of a pun? That was crazy,
That's
right?
crazy.
A whole new experience we've
Bruh.
lived through. So,
Mm.
before any potential problems happen, let's just dive into it. So, last we left off, the party, along with the wild man known as Rich and his pack of varying sized boar, had agreed to go and find this so-called Blade Garden where the tree speaker was awaiting them. Eventually, through a few obstacles of wild nature and strange nature, and the beasts that somewhat inhabit it, you found yourselves upon the Blade Garden, where a confrontation was had with the tree speaker. They spoke of allowing you to leave if you let them do what they need to do in order to achieve superiority and progress for the Thorn clan. However, there was a bit of a vengeance. There was a bit of past experiences and things you discovered that you couldn't just let her walk away. So, a battle commenced. The Blade Garden itself, a series of large blades planted around the area, were drawn from the tree, this massive oak tree that was at its center. And between all of you and the tree speaker, there was a moment of one-sidedness and then the other. Being able to kind of take you all on little by little by firing off different spells here and there. But once you all surrounded her, she then found herself weakened and wild shaped into a fire elemental. and slowly began to burn you away, but it was with Luminary's final strike that she fell and she was slain. And then after a brief moment of rest and relaxation, realized, well, this so-called doctor that the tree speaker was working with, you have no leads, you have no clues. And then L.O.R.E thought, maybe if I speak with the dead, maybe we can get something out of it. And here we are. Sitting amongst the graveyard, Rich attending to his boars, the rest of you kind of working with this plan for the most part. But it's definitely going to take some time for all of you to rest up, especially for
Yeah,
L.O.R.E
I think we said that we were gonna, last session that we tried to play, we said that we were gonna try to move away from the cemetery to go find a spot to rest so that we're not resting in this sacred space.
All right.
Sounds like a good plan. And
And
when we
Trovic
rest,
carrying the body, the unconscious person or whatever.
yeah.
Yes.
And they're tied. So we tied them up.
Hog tied. No offense, Rich.
Hog tie!
No offense, Rich. It is okay. It is just expression.
And when we do our long rest, L.O.R.E will pray for a speak to dead.
Okay.
And we'll take watches.
We're gonna need to figure out what we want to ask her because
Well, it's still early in the
yeah.
day. You definitely can take watches if you so choose. You all lead away from the Blade Garden at least a good, I don't know, couple meters, couple of feet. I'm using apples and oranges here for measurements. So you get a good distance away. And you take a rest. Rich is attending to his boar that he was able to, with the help of a few of you, kind of bring back to life. They were not dead, but they were severely beaten by some of the large trees there. And he's kind of just attending to them while the rest of you take your time. You watch the land. It's quiet. It's earlier in the day. It's still just after maybe 10 or so. And there's maybe a few clouds in the sky, but nothing to obscure the sunlight. It's warm. There's a subtle breeze in the air, but nothing too windy. It's calming. You spend the next few hours, however you so choose, healing, resting, eating, praying, changing your spells out, and anything else.
All of the above.
Any discussions you wish to have, you may also have, but definitely should consider questions you would like to ask.
yeah, we can ask up to 5. And our
Well,
answers are likely to be not as straightforward as we might hope.
5.
However, 5.
It sounds like a lot. Is that
Well,
a lot?
It could be. It depends on how forthcoming she is with the information that she could share. And I don't know that she's going to be that forthcoming. So
I
we'll
doubt she'd
see.
be too keen to share her information with us.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have been too keen to share it if she were alive either. So
That's true.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. Cookies.
Should probably ask her where her nearest family is, so that we know where to send her body after.
Oh, I thought you were making a threat. I was like, goodness.
We don't need to make a threat. We've already done as much as we're going to do.
Should we,
Well, if we wanted to threaten her, just send her body back to her family.
Yeah.
should we,
Because she made some bad choices doesn't mean she doesn't deserve to be put to rest how her family deems fit.
That's true. I agree. What were you going to say, Trovic?
Yes?
should we include the hogman? He's over by 3.
Oh, in the questions? Yeah?
Yeah, he's new.
Oh, he'd probably like to know where the rest of his herd is.
Ah,
He's-
yes.
He's over by
That's a
3,
good idea.
scratching his back.
So yeah, one of the questions should be where are the rest of his herd?
At least one of the many numbers.
What else?
Hopefully they're alive.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think we're going to get an answer, but I think if we just straight out ask, where is the doctor? That might be something.
That is good question.
Probably try and
Where is the doctor
obfuscate that.
geologically located?
Where are the rest of Rich's hogs? And where would you like your body delivered?
This all sounds very pleasing.
We have 2 more
Two more.
questions.
How many is that?
We have 3 so far. We need 5.
Okay, so not as many left. What about hidden dangers on way to find Doctor?
Oh, we can ask her if the doctor has any vulnerabilities. Or ways that we can persuade her to stop.
I think a backup question in case she doesn't. I think we should have more information on the doctor instead of just a location. So maybe a name or a physical description that might help.
Okay.
Can you tell us more about the doctor?
Well, I mean, technically, the answer to that could just be yes or no, and then.
Okay,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
that's a
that's
good
not an easy
question.
one to slip
That's a
out of.
good question. That's a good thought. Well, I mean, but
So
what
either like,
do you
what
wanna-
is the doctor's name, or what does the doctor look like? Be specific.
I like those ideas. I think we're good with that.
Okay, so what does the doctor look like? Be specific. And what is the doctor's name? She may not know
Where
it.
is the doctor?
Yeah, the name one's not necessarily as important.
Okay. Why don't we
But I was
leave...
just thinking, you know, as someone who would have to be quite a high level mage, it is possible that if she does know his name, he could be quite renowned, because you don't really become a famous mage by not having a lot of resources or a lot of clout to your name.
That's
But that could be a
true.
reason why she just doesn't know his name, because it'd be dangerous if people knew.
Perhaps we could leave one question open in case we need, once she answers something, in
See if
case we
ins-
need
inspiration strikes us.
clarification.
What if saying Doctor's name in real name summons Doctor?
What if you make him say his name backwards and then he disappears?
Well, then that would make it easier, because then the doctor would come to us.
Is this like Wishes with Genie?
No.
I saw a play called I Dream of Genie.
Can we ask for more questions at the end?
I don't think it works that
You
way.
can ask, but then the
That would
answer
be
might
one of
just
your
be no.
questions. You can ask, but that would be one of your questions, and I don't think you want to waste it that way.
Questions and wishes are different.
Although with a genie, you need to be very specific, too.
I've never met a genie.
I haven't either.
Me
I've
neither.
heard stories that you better be very
Funny
careful
story.
what you ask for.
Like
This is
the
true.
monkey's paw.
Yes, like the
Okay.
monkey's paw.
Like the monkey's paw.
Can you
So-
ask the questions now?
As soon as I'm able to cast the spell.
Cool.
You
That's
need
pretty neat.
long rest? Need
Yes.
nap time? Sleepy time?
And then I pray.
Sure. You guys can, while you guys are taking your time to rest and relax, you can essentially have this conversation and then wait it out a little bit longer. And it goes into, unless there's anything else specifically you'd like to discuss, it goes into the later afternoon. Probably
Okay.
about 5, 6 p.m.-ish. You can see that the sun is lowering, getting closer to the horizon, but there's still enough light out in the open wild. You're able to change up your spells, pray to your goddess, and you have yourself speak with dead ready.
Rich just asked us, we should ask, what is the caramel secret? Yeah.
Damn internet trolls.
If that can be our spare question.
All right. Well, let's
All right.
let's get to bye times for the sleepies and the praying of the magic stuff, and we
Picture.
make with the questions. 5 is the name of
Yes.
the question.
We have 4 so far and 1 in reserve.
What is reserve question?
We don't know yet. We sort of have to wait for her responses to see what we might want
We're keeping one in
clarification.
case we need
Have a little
one.
wiggle room to play like you're playing freeform jazz. That's the
I
12
think
bars
so.
solo there.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with this jazz.
What is this
thing.
jazz you speak of?
So jazz is a
Says
music
the jazz
genre,
singer.
and Azazel explains jazz and whatever the cultural origins of jazz are in this specific world.
Okay. So that's what they do in the big cities. Huh.
It
Okay.
sounds magnificent. It sounds good.
It does. It's very good. Good to dance to.
Yeah, it's a very it can be a very smooth or poppy sound depending on most of the instruments that they use, but it's a very hype.
Yeah, and you know, jazz is just sort of an umbrella term. You know, like when you say like what kind of music is jazz, some people say like, oh, only if it's swung, and some people say, oh, well, Latin music isn't jazz. The short answer: jazz music is music jazz musicians play.
I will pretend that didn't confuse the heck out of me, and we can move on.
Yeah.
Sounds like we have
Cookie?
bigger fish to fry. I would thank you.
Trevor gives you his best smile.
Yeah, it made about as much sense to you as it did to me. Yeah.
Sounds
Have a
good.
cookie.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sometimes smiling and nodding is the only appropriate response.
I agree. And chocolate chip
Yes.
cookies. Because,
I
you
love
know.
I could
them.
hear all of
Yes,
you.
and cookies. Yeah. Who doesn't mind?
Redman can be a little weird when he trails off.
A little?
It happens.
Did you just say a little?
Yes.
Making fun of my info dumping.
Oh, I wasn't talking about you, actually.
Oh, alright, I get it. Okay, so who's
So you
taking...
let us know when we can give you the body.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, right?
Yep. So Lark will start
Okay.
cooking,
Okay.
because we need dinner.
All right. Spend some time
It
cooking up
calms her.
Walk
a
around
fabulous
and
meal.
kick a rock
Yes.
in circles.
Just for the next hour, Moon is just kicking a rock in a circle around this one spot
Like
to the pot
skipping and just like yeah,
to the point that she's made
Intense.
a little trail
nice.
Okay.
in the high grass. But yeah, there's nothing else. You definitely get the opportunity, and you can definitely go ahead and cast your spell if you so choose.
Okay. Her spell is a full action.
All right.
What is a full action? Is that something you make to eat?
You had the eating already.
It was actually pretty good.
I'm glad you liked it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rich,
Okay.
you got something on your nose right there.
Oh,
Okay, it's gone now.
thanks.
Okay, so the spell lasts 10 minutes.
All right.
It takes an action to cast. And it allows the corpse to answer a question we pose.
Pose.
They have to have a mouth to answer the questions.
That's good.
They kind of do.
Yeah.
The head was split in two,
Okay.
Mouth still works.
but
And the corpse cannot have been a target of that particular spell within the last 10 days.
Maybe that is first question. Hey, have you been brought back to... Were you killed in...
Yeah.
were you killed 10 days ago? Can I ask you these
Yeah.
questions?
Within the
No,
last
why you
9
not
and a half...
answering me?
9 days
And boom,
24
5
Okay.
hours.
questions done.
So,
Question.
yeah. Okay. So I cast the spell,
What's
and the very first question I'm going to ask is, where is the doctor?
All right. You pray to Shantea, hold out your hands, holding your holy symbol, and you can see all of you around the body. It is still pretty kind of gross. The rest of you are just watching as the head slowly begins to like stitch itself back together, at least for a brief moment, and become whole. There is still the severed mark line and the blood splatter.
That's not disturbing at all.
But the tree speaker's face has now solidified.
Mhm.
Luminary is kind of standing there going, oh my god, I think I'm gonna throw up.
One gets used to this.
And you can hear almost like the breath fill the lungs again as the body kind of gets up and just sits there and looks at you, Lark. You ask this question.
Where is the doctor?
Where the grass meets the valley, and the valley becomes the mountains. East of here is where I found the dear doctor. Where the creatures... Oh, it was so funny. Where the creatures began to just appear from illusory walls. You'll see it. I know you'll see it.
Oh, yay. Again, not creepy at all.
I'm looking at my map while she's saying this.
That's your first question?
Yeah. What does the doctor look like? Be specific.
Sexy.
I mean, you could have just asked me before you killed me.
Well, you didn't give us much choice.
You're so funny.
I'm not sure, to be quite honest, what he is. But he's blue and tall. Flat nose. Something not of this world. Unfamiliar to me.
Interesting. Not to her, but to the others. You know, as if to ask if there's anything else they want to know. Any clarifications? Anything else?
How many questions was that?
We've asked 2 so far.
2.
We have 2 already spoken for.
Hold up your hand. That's how many fingers you have. We asked that one, and then that one. So we got that many left.
How many is that?
Actually, we have 1 left. Because we have 2 others spoken for.
Oh, that's right.
So this many still?
Just 1.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna ask 2 more. That
We
already
have
know.
2 more. I can ask those 2 and we can see where
Ask
that
those
takes
2
us.
while I think in my
Okay.
mind palace.
Okay, so the third question is,
Palace. Rip.
where are the rest of Rich's hogs?
And the vacant eyes kind of twitch their head a little bit and stare at you. The doctor's got them already.
Oh, Rich is not going to be happy about that. Okay. Okay. And fourth question,
Mm-hmm.
where would you like your body to be delivered? So that your family can bury you properly.
There isn't much expression on the face. It is just a vacant, dead body. But it's the tone of voice that it's jarring a little bit because it's just, but the tone kind of changes with it. You wish to bury me?
Or whatever
Yes.
you would like done with your body.
Strange. No need. Leave me where I lie. It's what I deserve.
How many left?
1.
Well, I mean, that's fine if that's what you want, but, you know, I don't mind bringing your body elsewhere. Just because you made a bad decision doesn't make you a bad person.
Body, it doesn't. Tree Speaker's corpse does not respond.
Does anybody have any other questions they want to ask?
I don't have any other question.
Why'd you target the kids?
Okay.
If you're speaking of the witch, that is what she wanted. It had nothing to do with me.
Instigate or propagate. Still your fault.
This
You
is...
can hear the breath exhale finally as the head kind of slowly droops and then slowly begins to separate again and just drop.
Okay. We are done. We are done.
That was
Okay.
fun.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call that fun. That wasn't what I would classify as fun, but it was certainly interesting.
Luminaries kind of like you can hear in the background go, like heaving.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
Verdane just looks at her and just shakes his head silently.
Was Rich here when we asked? Okay, so he knows that his hogs are already with the doctor. Okay.
I had a feeling that they were probably already gone.
Well, we're going there anyway, so we'll see. We'll see if we can
See
help.
about getting them back.
Hmm.
They may not all be dead. It is a good thing. Yeah?
I don't know. She already took him to this doctor person. Might already be gone.
Well,
And
I'm
honestly,
assuming.
fighting her, almost lost the rest of them. Well, most of them, but and he starts patting one of them on the side. I don't know if I should take them with me, or if I should take them with us.
Oh no, it's better safe to not bring them, I think.
Maybe the big one?
Maybe the big guy.
You don't have to come with us.
We're gonna fight
choose
him
where your
anyway.
You
So,
choose where your own journey begins and ends.
yeah,
You don't have
it's
to
up to
follow
you.
us if you don't need to. If you want your fight to be over, it can be over. It's just not done for us yet.
I don't know, I'm not a big fighter kind of guy. Don't really like to fight. But
Yeah, but when you do, you're a great warrior. And very scary. Just like you promised.
I'll walk up to Rich and I'll just place a hand on his shoulder and I'll just look him in the eyes and I'll say, if you don't have to fight, you don't. If you don't want to fight, you don't have to. We can fight for you. You can stay, protect your herd, be a guardian. That's what you're for. And then if we can rescue any of your other flock, we'll bring them back to you.
okay.
Yeah. Think on the bright side, Warman. He's, maybe doctor is not like to eat meat. Well,
Trovik, why is it that everything you say makes it worse?
That's just a perception.
It's a matter of perspective, really, I think.
Yeah. Maybe,
Lyle.
Smile and nod, boys. The point is, you helped bring us here.
On
We're
your
very
map,
grateful.
can you find a...
Where
we
the
look at
grass
the
meets
map
the
and try
valley
to
and the valley
find-
meets the mountains?
Yep.
To the east of here?
Mhm.
Are we going east of Eden? That's an American literature joke for all you
I
literature
got
heads out there.
I got it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Dio.
Yes.
Well, if you're actually looking, you can make. What would be cartography? We'll say intelligence.
Nice. Wizard.
Figured you were good at that.
Oof. 8.
8.
Oof.
Looking at the map, east. It's a little vague. East of what? East of here? East of this location and this location, or here? Where the hills meet the valley and the valley meets the mountains. Hard to say. There are only a handful of regions of mountains, which kind of narrows it down to like maybe 3 locations or 3 areas. So I gotta pick 3, and they're all like in different spots, quite far from here.
Could we maybe, could others of us try and have a look and see
Sure.
if we recognize anything that she might have spouted off about there? And again, is that an intelligence thing?
Mm-hmm.
Eesh. Okay. Just an intelligence check. And
Intelligence, right?
Yep.
hold on before if Moon, I'm gonna give her a guidance.
All right, so you can add
What's
D4
that
to it.
again?
You add a d4.
So roll a D20, add your intelligence modifier, and
Yes.
a D4.
We got 16.
So I think you did roll already.
Yep.
Okay, 19. Not bad.
19.
Voice.
I knew you would know.
Rovik is more helping.
I've read maps before.
I
How
don't
I
tend
get
to look
around.
at maps.
What'd you end up rolling, sorry?
19.
19.
Next
Out of all the
chapter,
mountain
proficiency in
regions-
cartography tools.
Out of all the mountain regions within at least the nearby region, the Southern Scarlet Mountains are just west of L.O.R.E, the eastern village just before it hits the wide vast forests on the edge of the country. It's still technically within the Tyranny open fields. And the fields themselves, though high grass, you have seen as you've explored on your own and with the rest of your party here, there can be a bit hilly. They can have a wide variety of hills and maybe even something as vast as a valley area. Maybe closer towards the Scarlet Mountains might be where you need to go. But where
I will
specifically...
relay that to the others.
I think we should go more there.
Sure.
Rovik agrees with a little star, then we go. Rovik is good at nighttime. Can navigate with stars.
I agree.
easily.
By looking at this map, I agree that's the best way to go.
Looking at the map and where you believe your general location is, it might take you
General
about...
location.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you, Dio.
It's 2.
That's 2. Third time's a charm.
Comedy comes in threes, baby.
You figure it might take you, if you were to go at a steady pace, maybe about 4 days, give or take, of travel.
Well, we don't really have anything else to do at the moment.
Or you could, it'll take you a little bit longer, maybe about a week and a half, but you could go back to the roadway, walk all the way around to Amnora, and then just go directly west towards the mountains.
Don't we have magic crazy way of traveling with Little Star? Little Star, can't you make like with the big birds and do the flying thing?
Oh yeah, we could just fly there. Would you guys like to fly there?
That would
as
be
long
very
as long as
handy.
we can get like a night's rest, I could even fly myself 2 hours just totally by myself.
Or maybe some ground monsters that go fast with their feet to hooves, where we don't have to do this.
I don't know about flying again. I wasn't too keen on it last time. And she's looking over your shoulder at the map. We're heading to this area, and she points to Amnora. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go near there just yet. I mean, after all, like we fought this, Goliath lady, and she kind of kicks her in the shin, or the body in the shin, and we did a great job. And I know we didn't make much money out of it. We saw some weird stuff. But maybe.
Do you guys want horses?
Horses would be great. Can they carry Trovik?
It's got to be a big horse.
Well, I could
You're a
get
big man.
4 war
Like
horses.
one of those big horses that like tows the cart of beer around
Yes.
at
I
festival
can get
times.
4 war horses.
That is
And then
sounds
have to carry like 2 people
magnificent.
and 1 Trovik.
We put all of you on one horse and 3 of them for Trovik. I am great warrior. Need.
Yep. So I'm
big-
sorry, Luminary. You're saying you don't want to go to this area we need to go to in order to pursue the doctor.
Did you
Yeah,
say goat?
Well, I know I was with you guys for a while. I said I'd join up for some money, and I'd help you figure out this little problem. And it seems like we figured out mostly what the problem is. But I think I need to, get some more resources and
Is the
recoup
problem?
some
Okay, you can
losses.
leave.
Is
You
the
don't have to
problem
stay with
that
us.
we don't give you the monies?
Well, you did technically promise me money, and we didn't really find any money. I
Right.
mean, we got these weird
Trovik knew
things
it.
from the witch lady.
Yeah, I guess it hasn't been as lucrative as we all thought it was.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of wasn't why we did this.
No, but
Yeah.
Trovik did make promise to give coin to.
I mean,
Belly
it's
dancer.
okay. It's okay. It's not a big deal. I just, to be truthful, it's, I got some other shit I need to deal with,
Mhm.
and it's not in that direction. I gotta
Okay.
go this way. But, it was,
Nice traveling with you. Thank you for your
Hello.
help.
you're wow, it's like, okay, I'm in and
It's
out.
good.
Sweet. Couple days. That was nice. I'm probably
Good
gonna still stay
story.
here and rest up for the night, and then maybe in the morning start heading back. Hopefully I don't get lost. Just that way, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What about Ordain? Did we?
Ordain is kind of like having Ordain in himself, he's always been the quiet individual. He seems like a man on a mission, so to speak, and even then when he first joined up, he was invested to a degree. He alluded that it was personal, but I will say that Ordain for the time being is going to help out Rich for a little bit, get him back to his hut, and then offer to take Luminary back to town and then probably either scour the area for the person that he thinks he's after, and he doesn't believe it's the same person. But if he can, he'll try and make his way back and help out where he can.
Okay.
It's good.
Well, it was a pleasure traveling with both of you. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
most welcome. I'm definitely going to miss those cookies, though, because they're really good. You know, you should really open up a shop or something. Like,
Maybe when I get home.
Yeah.
But
Do you have a mailing
have a
address?
couple for the road.
yes! Just kind of like starts nibbling on one. She's like, I want to say, she puts the rest of them in like her bag.
I'm gonna grab a scrap of paper and write my parents' address. I'll be like, well, you can send mail for me there and it'll get sent to me. And once you're settled, you can send me your address and then I can send you letters.
Sure, yeah, you can do that. I can do that. And she takes the paper and just kind of stuffs it in her bag. If I get
We'll keep in touch.
will do. Thanks, guys. And they just kind of stand there for a moment because it's still like late afternoon. And
Yeah.
she did say she's like, oh, we'll probably rest up a little bit. I don't know if I want to walk at night, but
Is what is going on right now? Is we already did the cooking and the eating?
technically he did already have a long rest, and it's later in the afternoon at this point, early evening.
Okay. I grab. I you know, do the awkward smile and wave like we're saying goodbye, but we're not saying goodbye, and realizing that, and then I just kind of tap Moon, tap Azazel, tap Lark, and be like, in the protocol small group huddle real quick.
Yes. Maybe we should
Yeah,
go.
what's up?
I mean, I have dark vision. Do you guys have
Rolvik.
dark vision?
Provik think that we
Oh,
should
yeah,
wait
I can see in the
until
dark.
Provik suggests that we wait for them to go to sleep at night and we go.
Why?
Why?
Provik no like bye-byes.
We just said bye-bye.
But they are staying the night. Wherever we are camping there, yes?
So you don't have to say bye-bye again.
You
But
said
we
bye.
should-
You said-
When you leave, you wave.
Should
And
we
that's it.
Should we not be making the best with our time? We should travel. Have a good nighttime.
I don't mind that if you don't mind that. What do
Yeah.
you guys think?
I
This is-
say,
in the dark,
don't worry
you
about
said-
it. It's only a few hours from my hut. They can come with me to the hut.
Richards, we're supposed to
Okay.
be listening.
We can all hear you.
Damn it, this voice travels, doesn't it? Okay.
It's you have a good presence. You have a very good presence.
It's a loud one. That's okay.
Provik likes presents.
Very loud indeed.
Well, then Trovik suggests that we leave in the nighttime.
You
I
can
thought we
just
were
leave
leaving
really
now.
early in the morning.
Or we leave now.
Or that.
We can travel through the night.
How far away do we think it is from the map and estimation? Get
If
there.
you're gonna cut through the fields, essentially, maybe about a 4 days travel. If you want to head back in another direction towards the road and actually follow the road, which would be easier all the way around, it would take you maybe about a week and a half, because it goes far south and then comes back up.
Do we want to wait that long, though? As much as
No, let's do the through the tree.
I mean, I hate to say it, but
Just leave now.
I think the quicker we get there, the more likely we are to find some of the boars are still alive.
Yeah. I don't think this
So,
is one where we can take
You guys
want
want to go right now?
We should go.
Because we're not going to make it today anyway, so we'll just rest when it's night, but at least we can get a head start.
Yeah.
Also, it would be awkward if we just stood around.
And we can all see, so why not?
After saying the buys with them. Probably just want to leave. Keep
Lark, you can see in the dark? I don't know humans can do that. That's crazy.
Dark can see in the Lark.
Apparently,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
I
cool.
can see. I don't know why, but I can.
Cool.
It's recent.
Nice.
I don't know how that happened or why, but I'll take it.
It's recent. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Put a pin in that,
That's
in
cool.
the pin board that is Azazel's brain.
That is the board that is Lark. You have like 3 or 4 already.
It's like the tangled mess of the board from It's Always Sunny, where it's like, I'm cracking this wide open.
Just give me a few hours.
And random intrusive thoughts and ADHD brains scattering
Oh, man.
along, strings tied up all over the place.
So it is agreed? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us
So we're
go.
gonna get our stuff
We're
together
on our
and
way.
we're on our way.
Do
Yeah.
the horses?
Are we doing the horses or are we doing flying?
I don't know how much the horses can travel through the forest.
Forest floor might be tricky, and in the air, we're probably not going to run into anything for that time.
I think it might be better to fly. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but Trovik, can you try?
Pull out a little caterpillar cocoon, just ready.
You might have to tie Trovik to bird or something, because it's very, not... Trovik is not scared at all, definitely not. Just, very concerned for other party members is what that is.
Lark is going to go up to him and touch his shoulder and say, "Don't worry, you will be fine. You've got this." And she casts guidance on him for riding the animal.
So I'm actually gonna get us each a giant owl.
Each?
Appropriate.
I was going to turn into an owl. A
Oh,
giant.
how
a giant
cool is that?
Well
eagle.
then, do it, owl boy.
Okay.
Just
I'll
'cause I
let you
can.
do it. Call you Al
Right.
Is there a
Capone.
quarter?
I need to
So
look
yeah,
up
conjure animals.
Got any
quarter, I
PC
can
jokes
get
for
8
me
owls,
yet, Al Capone?
8 large owls, giant owls.
8?
Yeah,
What?
Wow.
How big is a giant owl?
Not big enough
it's a
for
large
Trovik.
beast.
I
Trovik
think
is
they're
also
probably
large enough?
beast.
For us to ride?
Not Trovik.
You guys, yes. I think it would be
He's going to be.
on
Well,
par
Trovik
with
can have
Trovik.
more than one owl.
Just like have me hang on to their feet.
He'll make a magic carpet.
Magic copyright.
Just like one owl in one arm and one owl in the other. Just like
You could probably have 4
You're strong
owls to
enough.
yourself.
yeah, I am.
jeez.
Trovik is strong
Oh, we
enough.
can
I
like,
could, would be.
get a nice little construct a little like square bin or whatever to attach it to the owls, and then basically
We are
4
going-
hours of carrying you,
We're going to need to build something.
or a little pouch, like a hammock.
Oh yeah, that'll feel safe. I'd rather be on the
just
thing's
tie 'em up.
back.
Have you summoned them yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Wait, if you don't need 8, can you get like 4 that are larger?
They're all
Compromising.
large beasts.
Can I squeeze them into each other to make a bigger
I'm
one?
just wondering how it works.
Owls.
I
So,
can get
okay, so you're doing
giant wasps, but they're less strong.
Ooh, God.
I don't want to ride a wasp. No, thank you.
Sort this list.
I
by-
hate wasps.
Wait,
Blech.
because how many
Lions.
is it? Just the 4 of us, and you're
Yeah.
gonna turn into a.
I'll turn into something. It'll all be good.
Okay, well, I can get 2 giant eagles. They're large, but they are stronger than the owls are.
Ooh,
They have a 16 strength.
okay. Maybe
So, like, me and, I'm forgetting your name, but
I would say
me and Lark can get on one of the eagle, and then Trovik can get on the other eagle.
Oh yeah, and Azazel is himself an eagle. So,
An
yeah.
owl, yeah.
Okay, that'll work.
how big of an owl can you be, Azazel?
So I can't turn into something that's bigger than size large that's an owl. Polymorph doesn't specify that I have to have seen this creature in real life, right?
Ooh,
Right.
that's fun.
Pterodactyl?
Not quite. This one, Quetzalcoatlus. It would
It's
be
pretty
a
much
huge
like
dinosaur.
yeah.
Ooh, I'm dripping with excitement.
Minnie Mouse, baby.
You're
me-
what?
Like this from the brows.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up what this thing looks like.
I know what it looks like. It's a massive pterodactyl-like
Oh my
dinosaur.
God.
Called it. Yes. Okay. If Trovik is going to die in air, Trovik will ride.
Yeah, so Azazel turns
Azazel.
into this massive, flying, lizard-looking thing with this
Oh.
really long neck and this long, sharp beak and these long wings that I walk on. This thing looks sick.
Wait,
Let's look
what
over.
imagination did this come from?
It is
You're right.
Redman. He
Quite
is
look
the
like
That's a
an
Quetzalcoatlus.
owl.
Coatless.
he's the smartest wizard in the whole wide world. Don't doubt the wizard.
I read it in a book
Wow.
once.
All right.
I was gonna say, you know what? For shits and giggles, make an intelligence check for me.
Okay. Trovik, look to
With my stats
Yeah. Well, you keep your mental stats.
for polymorph now.
Right, while he's doing that, Trovik will look to Moon and Lark and
No,
say,
for polymorph, he doesn't keep any of his stats.
I'm assuming this is like before I transform to know.
12.
Make
Yeah.
sure I know what this
Keep a
animal
mental
is.
stat.
Yeah.
18.
18. You're not 100% certain, but you think you've heard of. There's a lot of information about the world that has yet to be discovered. Some that is considered rumor, and some that is factual, only to the highest of those in power, political, and whatnot. You may have not have heard of this particular creature, but you think you've come across something or heard in conversation that you may not have were supposed to be present for. But there are rumors to be creatures like this and other beasts on the island at the center of the world that holds the so-called highest mountain to the fabled city of doors.
Ooh, lower.
And you think, what if I were to imagine, they said something about reptilian creatures, some that can fly, some that can swim, some that look like lizards, some that look like are larger bipedal, like lizard folk, and you kind of like imagine in your head a mixture of like a something reptilian that's a bird that isn't a dragon, and this is what you come up with.
all right.
That is scary.
Trovik will
That's
look.
very scary.
I like it. It looks very unique.
Unique? Definitely. Definitely unique.
I mean, give him like neck scratches.
Maybe he wants a cookie?
He is the Quetzalcoatlus is considered a huge beast.
Yep.
So
Wow.
So I'm scratching.
honestly, you all could ride it.
Oh shit.
There are a lot of pictures comparing it to the size of a giraffe. So
No, don't ruin this moment for Trovik. You guys can ride your birds now. Trovik is going to ride Redman. Out of context, that sounds a little weird.
Only 'cause
then
you
we're
made
gonna
it
go
weird.
give head to Axeman.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Happens.
Trovik, this creature that Azazel has turned into is like,
Not intimidating me in the least.
but it's something you've never seen before, and
Yeah.
it's
Awesome.
yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. It's awesome. You're just like, this is cool. I would love to fight this.
Yes, exactly. I would probably not cut the head off this one.
I'm gonna be
Because
honest,
it's
it wouldn't be
Red
much
Man.
of a fight.
But yeah,
This
you
thing
can,
is a pretty delicate, big creature.
yeah, pretty much. But it's got an 80 foot fly speed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it can definitely carry you, Trovik, no problem.
Oh yeah, man.
Wow.
Wingspan exceeding 30 feet.
Jeez.
Damn.
I mean, if you both want to join, but Trovik is playing pilot on this one.
Yeah, I'd say it's.
I think that'll be fun. You want to
Alright.
get on, Mark?
I think I'd rather
With you
ride
on
with
your own
you. Are you? Did you want to? Do we all want to ride this creature? Is that what we're doing?
It is your call. I am going to try to tame the big red beast.
I think
Hey,
it'll
big
be
guy.
fun to watch Trovik try to tame Azazel.
So, are you summoning anything else or not?
If you want to, but if you
If it's okay.
want to ride him, then we can ride him. But if
Redman.
you want a bird, I can get you a bird.
If Azazel is okay with that.
And I like lower myself to the ground so they can climb aboard.
Good, Azazel. Have a cookie.
Alright. Are we
Okay.
all climbing on?
Yes.
Alright. I will
Yeah.
grab rope.
80 feet. That's good.
Grab rope. Loop it around a couple times. Hand it to kind of like a piece.
Mhm.
You know how like you loop it once and then put like thing through. So there's 1, 2, 3. So we can all hold on.
Okay.
Trovik will
Oh,
straddle.
it's the kindergarten rope.
Yeah, straddle in the middle and say, I'll lean in and say, I don't know if you can hear me in there, Redman, but this is the smartest thing you have ever done.
I'm assuming you're riding on my back,
Yeah,
and then I have all this neck.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's a whole lot of, hey, if you can hear me from over there. But I do not start milk basil.
I
Chat.
don't think I have anything to milk.
Right.
I'm a reptile, and I don't have breasts.
It wasn't me, it's the chat. Alright,
Jeez,
let's fly
Chad.
already. I mean, let's...
All right, so Moon, what are you doing? Are you wild shaping or are you using conjure animals? And
Wait,
what are you
can't
doing?
we all
Neither.
go- I think we're all gonna.
We're
go
all
together.
riding.
Okay.
We're all riding Azazel.
Ride me!
Ride me.
Moon will sit like at the back, and like she's gonna really enjoy it. So like even if you go like left, right, and everything, she'll be like hands up in the air
Just
kind of thing.
dangling from a rope at the bottom, swinging. Whee!
All right.
Yeah, because
So-
she could turn into something else before
the
she
rope
hits the
is actually
ground.
a swing that she's just sitting on, like,
At the
yeah.
bottom.
Oh my god. Oh, jeez.
Lark's holding on.
For dear life.
Yes.
All right, so this lasts for an hour. 80-foot speed for over an hour. I'm definitely
He can just use all his actions to dash.
so 160 feet. We'll say if you're going really fast. Are you doing anything
Don't hold the B button down
acrobatic
too long.
or
That's the
are
boost.
you just going? Or are you
I'll do
making
I'll do
flips?
some fun stuff. I like flying. I won't do any flips because Lark is not having it. But I'll do like some dives and like whoop.
Okay.
All right. I'll
Yeah.
say.
Holding
Okay.
on for dear life.
And Moon is probably the only one that's just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she could turn into a bird if she falls.
I'm gonna say Lark
Yeah, I
because it's not too crazy, but I'll say Lark making an athletics check for me.
Athletics?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Sorry, not Lark Moon. You're
Yep,
holding
okay.
on for dear
I'm
life.
holding on.
He's
Yeah.
not doing anything crazy, but you want to go roller coaster riding on this
Child roller
giant
coaster
dinosaur.
ride. You know, the little ones.
Child roller coaster
That's a
ride.
9.
9.
There's no place I'd rather
Negative
be.
athletics.
Uh-oh.
In the first 10 minutes, Azazel in his dinosaur-like form is flying and doing a couple of dives and a few angled. I'm certain you, of all people, are familiar with some of the aerial maneuvers that you can or cannot do. But yeah, there's one moment where he goes into almost a turn, or like a spiral, but comes in and keeps straight back up. But there isn't a whole hell of a lot to hang on to if it's not one of the others or the rope. and you're trying to just freehand it, and you just begin to do this.
Yeah, I'm just doing
Can I like
that.
grab her before she falls?
Well,
like with one.
Yeah, Trovik in the middle, so Trovik will try to grab.
Jarvik's not in the middle. He's
Yeah.
at front.
No, he's in the front. You're controlling.
You're controlling him.
Oh.
I'm the one in the middle.
Yeah, that one in the back.
Oh,
All right.
my
Lark,
bad. I
make
didn't
an
see this
athletics
visually.
check.
Oh yeah, now we see what happens.
See how quickly you can grab.
Really?
Oh,
Oh.
it is good that Trovik is in front. So.
Yeah, 10.
10.
Uh-oh.
That's not gonna help.
I'll say
It's okay.
it's just enough. Like, she rolled a 9, she was sliding off, and you rolled high enough. Just enough to, like, grab either a leg or a hand.
Okay.
But it's just one of those, like, high-flying instances where you're literally just holding on to her just
Or a
by
onesie
an
ear.
appendage. A foot, a hand, an ankle, a wrist. The back
Feeling
of
the disturbance
scruff.
on my Quetzalcoatl back, I will turn
The-
around and see this, and I'm gonna roll a d20.
The two...
I'm gonna
Okay.
add my -4 intelligence modifier, and
Okay.
see if I piece enough context together to stop doing that.
Sure, I'll go for it.
0.
You grab...
Zero.
What? 0?
I have a -4 intelligence modifier currently.
Oh,
Okay,
the
that would be
dinosaurs
a
were
no.
not known for their smarts.
You look back and you
Wow.
think, eh, she seems like she's having fun. All right, you just keep going.
Oh boy.
Did, everything is okay, Red Man. Trovik is pale white in the face, ready to throw up. Pretending to be brave, but doesn't have to be too brave because he's like clinging on to death and nobody can see him. That's why he rode up front.
You're like this, like, oh god, oh god, oh god. And you don't notice behind you that Lork is like clinging onto
No.
a moon for dear life.
Oblivious.
She has one arm like looped around the
I would
rope.
think- I would think, yeah, you know.
And Moon's just having the time of her life being dragged through the air by her foot, and she's like,
I wanna roll this.
Pretty
just-
much. She's probably like swinging and whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So
If you die, your parents are gonna kill me.
so
I won't die. This is fun.
Azazel, you feel a little warm spot secreting.
We're pretty high
on-
up, right?
you messed on it.
where Trovik is laying. Little warm, little yeah. It's a
Azazel, you feel like this warm trickle of fluid down the right side of your neck as it kind of just spatters and flutters off into the wind. Yeah, it takes
What that? No, that
it
is
takes a
just
little
Trovik
bit,
crying.
but you know, I would say like Lark spends as much time as she can trying to drag Moon back into the giant dinosaur.
This was the best idea ever.
But after the first hour, eventually the polymorph spell begins to fade, and you realize this is Azazel, so you start kind of going and
Time to
touchdown.
land.
I
Crash
land
landing.
super gracefully as a huge creature could.
Before you know, as you're all getting off, he slowly begins to back into his humanoid state.
Did you pee on me?
What?
Did not.
No.
No.
Lark did not pee on you. Why would you ask her something like
I'm
that?
looking right at you, Trovik. You peed on my neck.
Oh, I did not. Trovik would never. Trovik saved peepees for dead warriors.
I may have been a small brain lizard, but I still know what piss is.
That's not very nice.
I will walk away in shame.
I open my water skin and start cleaning my neck.
It was probably from the mug. I don't know.
Yeah, you guys travel about an hour's out eastward, land in the middle of the fields, and
I could
just
do
like
another
maybe-
one. Just don't pee on me this time. I can take it easier.
I'm gonna. Trovik will be throwing up behind a bush.
Okay, I guess that's a no.
All
That's
you
on
hear
me,
is-
I guess. That's on me.
All you hear is a heavy heaving coming from Trovik,
Well,
just a few feet away.
Wow, and
I
I
mean-
thought I didn't like traveling this way.
Well, at this pace, we'll be there in like 2 days.
I mean, out of speaking as Chris, Trovik will go again, but for the sake of the team, because he does want to find this doctor and murder the hell out of him. But yeah, he needs some time and a change of pants.
Happens.
Let me ask, for the sake of brevity, let me ask, how many uses of spells do all of you have combined that you could do in one given day before you need a long rest? So you already spent one use of polymorph.
And
Spells
one-
total or specifically spells to help travel?
In this case, I figure conjure animals, polymorph, or what other means you have available to help you move at a quicker pace.
I have one polymorph,
5.
and I could technically, I could Misty Step 6 times. Get myself 30 extra feet.
Where'd he go?
Like that episode of Wolverine and the X-Men where Nightcrawler teleports away from Magneto's island.
Yep.
Yep.
I can do it 5 times because I can do twice polymorph and 3 times conjure animals,
Damn.
and each is an hour of travel that we can do.
I can cook.
You can cast
mean-
polymorph
Walking,
twice.
speed eating.
I have nothing I can add to this equation.
Yeah, she'd be
Other
able to
than
cast
food.
polymorph twice.
You can.
We have two
Cool.
we have 2 4th level slots.
Yeah, cool.
I just used one, and I have a second one.
Can it be used more than once in a long rest?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
There we
he's
go.
got
As long as you have the spell slots for it.
I have
Yeah.
2 spell slots for polymorph, but I also have 3 that I can use for the conjure animals.
So I'm just thinking in my head to see how far you would get before you guys are tapped. We do some-
Well, it's 96,000 feet per minute at 160 feet
Ooh, we're
per
doing math.
round.
We're doing real math.
Oh, my.
So if I can do it 5 times and he can do it twice for 7 hours, we can travel 672,000 feet in a day by just flying.
What's that in kilometers?
That in kilometers.
I was mostly joking, but
Let me break out my Canadian calculator.
So
Mike.
how's the stream doing, Chris?
It's laggy on Streamlabs end,
About
but
200
other
kilometers.
than that, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like video lag. That's it. So we're doing good. I think it just took some time to warm up.
I
Maybe.
would say rough math. It would take you about half the time if you were to do that over the next 2 days.
Okay.
Take a long rest.
So-
Next day, do it again. Then take a long rest. You'd probably be close enough that you could.
The next day, just kind of walk there.
Yeah,
like the
walk
last
to the
day.
to the
Because
yeah
like 2 days to get really close, then we camp out and then go in the morning.
yeah, and then just
Sweet.
maybe. I mean, you could still fly around and try and figure it out, but based on where you thought it would be on the map, you'd be in the general area, and then it would just come down to finding wherever the tree speaker vaguely specified.
Sounds good.
cool.
I'll do that.
All right. So we'll say for sake of
Yeah,
brevity,
let's do it.
you guys spend multiple spells to help you travel through flight over the next 2 days, take a long rest, and so on and so forth. Maybe not as adventurous or reckless after a couple attempts, and at this point, Trovik and L.O.R.E, you're kind of over it. Where it's just like, yeah, okay, you're either used to it or you're just like, okay, just an hour. I can deal with this for an hour. Get down.
Once we have a long rest, I'm gonna get rid of Speak with Dead and get a new spell.
Yeah, for those of you that can change their spells on a long
Yeah.
rest, you can definitely interchange your spells.
Tovik would like to do this too.
Mhm. But the following morning, you all awake. 2 days in a bit. You wake the following morning, have your breakfast, gather yourselves, prepare your spells for the day. And you figure you're maybe 2-3 hours close to the general area where you pointed on the map. You're starting to see, or at least from the distance previously, you could see the foot of the southern Scarlet Mountains, these reddish looking mountains that kind of cut through Talantis towards the plated roadway that leads all the way around. And based off the map you have, it is slightly west of Omnora, the eastern village in the region. There is also a roadway that leads into the mountains to Ragnar, this dwarven underground city that's just kind of on the outskirts, but also within the mountains themselves. But based on the information you got and what you assumed it would be, your goal is presumably around the tip of the mountains where they end, within the Tierney open fields in that area.
Cool. So let me just recap this to see if I get this right. It's morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we're only 2 to 3 hours away on foot from where we think this might be.
Yes.
Very cool. Okay, that was a great thing to do. Okay,
Played the
team.
Brother Bear montage song and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't encounter much along the way because you were flying most of it, but, come across a few birds that are, like, minuscule in size. You may have seen, like, another giant eagle or two kind of flying by, but they kept clear of you guys considering, a giant flying beast of unknown origin is kind of just rocketing through the sky.
Yeah, we didn't have anybody chasing us or concerned at all.
And whatever was on ground level, whether or not you were paying attention, can't really get to you anyways.
Yep.
Too fast. Too
fast.
You're too slow.
So yeah.
Sonic?
Oh, chili dogs.
Oh, okay.
Oh man.
One.
Closer now.
I will say,
He will say
whoever is leading the charge and trying to find this general area, or at least what they think it is, make a survival check for me.
Totally cool. Yeah. Trovik
Are
will
you
try
good
to
with the
do.
map?
Not the map, but Trovik knows is very good. It has saved us many times.
Okay.
Where the grass meets the valley, and the valley dips in and meets the mountains.
I have no
essentially.
clue.
8. Yeah,
No
it's
clue at
Great
all.
state
It's-
of Montana.
the great state
Look
of
at the map.
Ooh.
There's relief on the map, and then you look at the ground, and you have to find patterns going on. I got 23.
Yeah, 23. Were you rolling Trovik or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to roll too.
Hang on.
If you want.
Is that a 1? Wow.
And Joey's like, no, the dirt is this way. We
Yeah.
must go this way.
You're looking at the map,
Trovik
and
smells
it's
bullshit.
the map doesn't show the elevations, and it's just green, and they're pointing in this one spot on the map, and all you see is green and just where the mountains are kind of drawn in. And you look around, and you're just like, the mountains are over there,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is green.
This way.
I don't know.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
certain.
no, we have to look at the dots and the dot spacing. That's what tells you
the elevation. They don't write them, but they did the dots and how they draw it. You can see here.
You know Trova can't read, right?
Well, they're all images. It's okay. I'll teach you how to read a map later.
Okay.
I'm glad she knows. That's all I can say.
Venture onward, heading east, northeast, following the, at least comparing the map to where you are regionally. The area around it's a lot of the higher grass as you've encountered in this open region of land, but in this area it's a little bit more hilly that you've come across, and it's starting to make these swoop patterns in between hills, almost like a valley, but just more of like the grooves in the ground between two sections of small hills. Travel for a couple hours until eventually you come across what you think might be this so-called valleyed area, where the ground begins to dip and the elevation just declines heavily, and you can almost look down into this wide, flattened area that's just mostly like this short grass compared to the rest of it. It begins to like lower in length, and you can see down into this big crevasse area. There's a small river that seems to be funneling through these two large hills, I wouldn't say mountainous, but gigantic hills that create this valley. And it goes for a bit of time, or a great distance, and you can see that it gets to a point to where you gather it stretches on enough that it would reach the southern Scarlet Mountains as it is. Oops. Just want to check something quickly. I would say all of you kind of looking at this area, and you gather this might be it. The one thing that's kind of odd is that this small little stream that kind of that passes through the valley area, it kind of cuts off at a certain point and doesn't seem to go anywhere.
Illusionary walls are.
Oh yeah, where the creatures just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Let me actually, before we do anything too hasty, let me just take a quick 10 minutes. I'll just cast a little detect magic as a ritual.
Oh, that's really smart.
Thanks. I pride myself on intelligence.
That's good. You need to have some sense of pride.
Yeah. I keep ritual casting.
As I was saying it, I was like, oh, it sounds like this. Too late. I'm already saying it.
Well, you gotta be good at something, Azazel.
There's not much going on, but whatever you can, just try to find
the
pride in it.
the condescending nature of a teenager.
It's like, God, I do not miss high school.
Alright. How long does detect magic last again?
It lasts for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. Alright. So what about all of you do?
I just watch him cast it, and like I don't want to approach the walls yet because I'm gonna wait for him to be ready. So.
Yep, waiting.
Just kind of chilling there.
Trovik think he come up with a good joke for L.O.R.E.
Oh?
Yes. And I pull out my flask, start drinking, and say, "What is Magic Healing Lady's favorite drink?"
Favorite drink? I'd have to think really hard about that one.
It is divinity. And I smile.
That's That's good, actually.
Azazel fights back a chuckle as he keeps ritual casting.
that was
It's
pretty
good,
good.
no?
Concentration.
That was good, Trovic. Yes. You did good. Divinity. I'll have to make some tea later.
little flower told Trovic he needs to work on his humor.
You did very well.
Is good. Yeah. Okay.
It's good.
Probably call it little flower.
How do wizards do this? I've ran out of hand stuff to do, and it's only been like 2 minutes. I have to do this for 10 more? Oh my god.
It's not just hand gestures, it's a mixture of subtle hand gestures and
subtle
chanting.
you draw like a magic circle, you draw some sigils, you draw like a pentagram on it, you sacrifice a goat.
But
you
know
like,
this,
you know the usual.
but quietly the spell's whispering in your ear, don't stop.
Don't stop, please.
I'm almost there.
I think that got him.
You killed him.
Alright.
He's dead, Jim.
I'm almost wow.
I'm out. Night.
10 minutes of hand stuff will do that to you.
Anyways.
Don't go blind. Says the healer.
Excellent follow-up. You better stop that, wizard. You'll go blind.
You'll grow hair on your hands.
This is why I won't be a wizard next campaign.
Oh no, we heard him. We hurt Trovic.
Trovic is good.
We broke Chris, pardon me.
The red is back in Trovic's face now. Oi. Okay.
So you spend the 10 minutes to ritual cast detect magic. You look in the air. There's nothing within the vicinity aside from yourselves.
Okay.
Can
Now,
you look at
you're
the
just-
illusionary walls?
I have to be within 30 feet of the walls, so
Oh yeah, let's go that way.
you want to start approaching.
All right. You begin to.
Skip by.
They're going a little bit slowly, and you're just like boop, 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 down the hillside into the valley, and you get to this small little stream area that kind of goes. It kind of cuts through part of the valley, goes down it, and then goes.
We found the stream.
Goes into almost nothingness, like it stops abruptly.
Thought you found that when we were flying.
And as
Not
you get
willingly.
Not willingly. And as you approach, your detect magic does go off, and you see looks to be almost like not necessarily a shimmer, but something that kind of obscures the area, and you can tell there's like this. You can definitely pick up that it's illusion, school of illusion, and it's just almost like a hallucinatory terrain that's kind of covering quite a vast area. And almost like it almost does curve around.
Holy hells. I, with my keen senses and my ability to detect that this is illusion,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try and just like see through the illusion.
Cool.
All right. Think you have to make an investigation check?
I think that's what it is. I hope that's what it is. It's a great number if it is.
Before you do that, Lark walks up behind him, puts her hand on his shoulder. You can do this. You're really observant. I have noticed this about you.
I am.
And she casts guidance.
Cool.
One of these times you need to say, and she doesn't cast guidance. She's just being morally supportive.
I'm just being supportive.
Just being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
For some reason, I can't seem to find the spell. But
Travel down the
24
road,
should be
baby
enough.
girl.
Using your detect magic and your ability and your knowledge of magic itself, you kind of focus a little bit, and it looks as though, even though there seems to be arguably like a curved, like a wall area of illusion, there isn't much beyond it. There looks to be like a small section of the hill or an outcropping of this part of the land, and you can see past it, and it looks as though it goes inside. But the rest of it is just, it's been put up over a wide area just to kind of, whether it be to confuse or allow things to pass through, you're not quite sure, but there's like one small hillside area that you can see through, and you know that there might be something there.
I'll point to that area, and I'll look back at my companions, and I'll just say, that's the next step.
Wait, let me just stretch a bit and warm up before we go.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Get your muscles warmed up. Do some dynamic stretching, because the sort of still stretching is actually pretty bad for your muscles if they're not warm. That's just real life advice. Don't.
I agree with that.
Dynamic stretches for a warm up. Static stretches is a cool down.
Yeah.
What do you guys do?
Start stretching oddly.
Step through.
Do some light
Do
calisthenics.
circles with your arms to warm up your shoulders.
So 3 out of 4 of you are stretching, and Lark, you're just gonna walk through it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm walking through it.
Alright.
There goes our cleric.
You kind of just pass through
I
this.
can
Walking
see
through.
I can see the hole, so I'm
Yeah,
leading
you
here.
move past this illusionary terrain, this wall, and you can see that you're now at the front, at the foot of this small little hill, and it looks as though there's a hatch that's kind of built into the ground to kind of obscure it a little bit. It's not locked, or at least doesn't seem like there's any sort of obstruction on it.
I'm
Do
gonna
you
check
still-
to see if it's trapped.
Yeah, do you still
Sure.
have your detect magic on?
Brolic will rub his
I do.
belly and detect the magic.
Is there
as
any
well.
magic on it? Okay.
Nope.
That's good then.
Do the
Do I roll for traps?
Sure, make a roll a dexterity. Roll d20, add your dex modifier. Or
Dex. Okay.
is there any
actually, well, okay, yeah, no, that makes more sense. Investigation.
Is
That's
magic
fine. That one you can keep that as well. So, investigation 19 is not
Yep.
trapped.
Yep. Cool.
Nice.
Open it up, lifts open, and you can see what looks to be is maybe 3 or 4 sets of stone steps that kind of lead downward, and you can see a bit of light kind of coming through from what seems to be a stretch of hallway.
We gotta be real quiet, okay?
Okay.
All right. All of you walk inside this, couple steps, and emerge into this looks to be stone, long stretch of hallway with a series of lanterns fixed perpendicularly with each other along the stretch, and it goes for a little bit.
Before we go any further, Trollic rubs belly and does the magic awareness so that every 60 feet until I think it's the same thing as detect magic, right?
It is. It's pretty much detect magic.
So he'll
And he's
just activate it as well, just to be a helpful.
2 sets of eyes.
Oh,
All
Streamlabs froze. Cool.
Well,
now would be a
1.5
good time for a
sets of
break.
eyes.
And I was gonna say, yeah, you rub your belly, your eyes kind of flare up, and you begin to see, the lights. They are somewhat magical in nature. As all of you kind of stare down this long stone hallway, we're gonna go for a break.
Cool.
We have returned from our little cookie break. But
I'm eating pizza.
I had chewy
Little
chips
cookies.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Ahoy. Ooh.
Those are
Um,
nothing like Lark's cookies, so gotta tell
No,
you.
but they've got that magical
Homemade cookies
taste
for
to
the
it
win.
that just make me think that they are Lark's cookies.
Ah, okay. They're moist.
Cringe.
They melt in my
Did
mouth.
you guys hear about Minnie Mouse and how excited she is?
Hmm?
She seems to be dripping with excitement.
She's dripping with excitement at the new Walt Disney Centennial Celebration.
Oh, God.
Remember when Dio told us about that earlier? That was
Crazy.
But not the audience knows because they probably didn't know about it earlier. But
No.
Well, now you do.
No one needs to know this.
Folks at home watching and anybody watching in the future when this is on YouTube, maybe if we're lucky, there's no background audio anymore because we're trying to get through this stream.
Conserve battery life, if you will.
Rich brought up a good idea to stop the video background in the back, but I can't do that because it's just the background. It's on a loop thing. So, but it's a good idea because it's media running. Where if I just had like a regular picture in the background, so food for thought for next stream. I think we'll just do like a regular background. Okay.
Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
moving on.
What at this
Oh.
out?
Entering the illusionary wall thing.
All of you find this, well, Zazel finds this hatch embedded in the hill, this small little hill, hidden away behind this hallucinatory terrain. This illusion pulls it open, and there's just but a few steps that lead downward into this long stone hallway with a series of lights just strung up all the way through. Trovik casts his detect magic using his magical belly powers. And between the two of you, though it's probably about been like 7 minutes or so for your detect magic. Aside from yourselves, you pick up nothing in the vicinity except just the lights that kind of just fill this narrow stone hallway. And he goes on for a little bit. And for all intents and purposes, why don't I bring you there?
Hey, battle map time. I mean, what?
Corridor map.
Right. Hit this.
Yeah, I
There we
think
go.
Trovik would be more forward and Moon.
You guys can position
Oh,
yourselves
absolutely.
as you so choose. But yeah, you're in this long stone hallway.
I can't move.
Should be able to.
It says I'm running into a wall.
Oh,
Slide
well,
to the left.
just yeah, slide
Slide to the right.
one at a time, maybe. Just kind of going
Crisscross.
too far.
There you go.
I can't move
Cha-cha
it.
now, y'all. Boopity beep boop boop beep.
Oh, there we go. I don't know what. Okay, cool.
Can everybody move their tokens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Since the last time I destroyed this software
Yes,
and
we
had to
can.
rebuild it from the ground up.
Take it back now, y'all. One hop,
One hop
this time.
2 hops this time.
Lots of time.
Hands
Right
on the
foot, left
knees.
stop.
Everybody, clap your hands.
Gosh.
Man, the song
right.
that plays at every school dance and wedding reception in this
Every
At
at least
karaoke bar.
continent, probably the world. Definitely the northern hemisphere.
It's not the song when you see the rap video. It's not the song that you would think that every white person in a club would always request. It's just like, okay, single white ladies
Cha-cha
to
slide
the
starts
dance
and every
floor.
Aunt Karen in the world loses her mind about it.
Let's go. Even Grandma gets on the dance floor for cha-cha.
That's right.
Oh, geez. All right.
It's a shame Mambo number 5 doesn't get the same amount of respect.
Number 5.
I loved that one.
It's a classic.
do.
It's so much fun. Anyway, let's start walking.
All right. So you guys begin moving down this narrow pathway. You get closer and you can see on the end, it looks to be some sort of door. Wooden door of some kind, just in the middle of the hall. And you notice along the outside of this door are pieces of metal, kind of just scattered, all misshapen and whatnot, just scattered about the frame, not even the frame, but just on the outskirts, like along the wall.
Those scraps, do they have a particular like pattern? Does it look like it's haphazard or?
Make a perception check for me.
Okay.
Do they look like something was shot from the other end of the corridor?
11.
It takes you a little bit. And when you finally realize what it is, it's pieces of armor. Like pieces of maybe a suit of armor, multiple suits of armor. You're not 100% certain, but you start to recognize some of the patterns of like parts of like a greave, parts of like an elbow or a gauntlet, maybe a piece of a helm. And once you do, you start realizing that they start to glow a little bit. And all of them begin to kind of just pick themselves off the wall and start to form into one solid piece of armor as it kind of just
Oh, we've got company.
forms itself in front of the door. Doesn't attack you, doesn't strike you, doesn't do anything. It just kind of forms this reddish glow, kind of brings all the pieces together, and then it dissipates, and it just kind of stands there, this huge piece of plate armor. Unmanned, unworn, just kind of floating there in space in front of the door.
I say the elvish word for friend.
Make his way up to Basil.
You know,
I do not recognize any of you. Are you guests?
Yeah, we're guests. We heard about the doctor. We came to see if the doctor's in.
Who spoke to you of this so-called doctor? And why should I grant you entryway?
I was the tree speaker. We've had a few run-ins with her. She was sort of interested in us, and she said that if we wanted to learn more about this, maybe see about getting a job, we should come and see the doctor himself.
I will say make a deception check for me.
Awesome. I'm so good at these. Natural 20.
Oh,
Nice.
well
Total 20?
done.
Total 20.
Nice.
Come on, you know.
Yeah. Wait.
You look hireable.
I got an eye patch. I'm very menacing.
Very convincing.
It doesn't respond any further than that. There's like a bit of silence. I wouldn't say standing. It's kind of just floating in space, waiting there. And I'd say you guys have about a good minute before it responds again.
I lean back to
Open the door.
the gals of the group and give them a thumbs up, like it's going good.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
You guys just wait it out.
Okay. I don't want to cast a spell because I think it'll think we're hostile no matter what I do.
And we're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're waiting.
You guys wait a good minute or so before you can see kind of. It's just floating in space, and then you hear the voice speak up again.
Hi.
That is a deliberate lie. The tree speaker was the only one with privilege to enter. No others We're given permission or access. Access further denied.
And it just floats there
Can
in
you
space.
ask her?
I mean, did you even ask the doctor if we, like, come on, that's so rude. Deliberate lie. Do I look like a liar to you? If you say yes, you're racist. Don't be racist, suit of armor. Caught him in a moral quandary. He'll never know what to do.
Like, all for the stream.
Should I cast a dispel magic?
If you want to, I don't have it.
Well, I
Sure.
do.
For what?
It automatically gets rid of spells 3rd level or less. I don't know what it does with above.
You have to make like an
What?
ability
Is there a
check.
spell on the door so we can't cross?
No, I'm talking about the suit of armor, which is obviously magical.
We can just ignore it.
Isn't it like right in front of the door though, Matthew?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's standing right in front of the door.
Blocking the door.
exactly.
I take one step closer to it.
You're about to break.
One step closer to the armor. It doesn't react. It just kind of. It doesn't have a face. It's just floating armor
Right.
and just there. It's not
I
moving.
take a step forward and to the right as if I'm going to step around him.
Its left hand kind of jettisons out to block you.
Access denied. You are to leave now.
Wait a minute. This is rude. How are you going to treat guests this way of the doctor? You do not know what we have to tell the doctor. Maybe we have a broken leg or injury or something that needs fixed, and the doctor told us to come here to fix it. You do not know. You are being rude.
It does not respond to you. It just holds its place firmly.
Oh. I look at my companions and I hold my hand up and a little like lightning starts to gather and I like
Yeah.
waiting for their approval.
I mean, I can try the dispel magic and see what happens.
I am going to rage now.
Sure.
Just because.
Try to dispel magic real quick, and then if it doesn't work, I'll shock them.
Okay, I cast the dispel magic. It's a 3rd level spell. It takes care of any 3rd level or lower magic effects immediately.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can roll for higher.
And
right?
otherwise, I can roll to see if I overcome whatever it is. So I don't know. You let
Just
me
get
know.
this quickly. Okay. You hold out your amulet and like this. It's almost like a small wave of holy energy just kind of like goes towards it and just cascades over the armor. Doesn't seem to have any effect. You can see the armor begin to like this very faint red that it had that's kind of like holding it in place to a degree.
Mhm.
Begins to glow a little bit greater.
Can I try overcoming its magic? Like, I don't even know what I would do. Do I roll?
What I will get you guys to do is roll initiative.
Oh. Oh.
Press
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Oops.
That'd be a
Okay.
9. That'd be a 9.
Ahem, horror.
Look at that. Why is it not showing up?
It shows to me. I
Did
saw
you
a 20
roll
and a
too early?
17. You
Yeah.
rolled 2.
Yeah, because I get the advantage.
Oh. cool.
Advantage.
So you got a 20 then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I might have not hit features and synced up. I don't know.
It's okay. I got it.
Okay, cool.
All right. Some cool new thing that I also got for Foundry was I was introduced to this. It splits it, so you don't have to go back and forth between the chat box and the encounter block.
Cool.
I do like that.
All right. So, as you cast this spell against this plate of armor, the only way it seems to react is the light that it emits within the armor itself grows larger or becomes brighter. And it doesn't respond or speak. But the hand drops away from Azazel as it goes to draw this sword that it has in place somewhere along the side of its body. And then you hear like what sounds like a latch or something open along the sides of the door on the wall. Just where the couple of the lanterns are, they just kind of like tilt a little bit, and you can hear.
So the way that this is supposed to work is for each spell of 4th level or higher on the target, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability. And the DC equals 10 plus the spell's level. On a successful check, the spell ends. And I've chosen one creature, which is it.
Okay. All I will say is it has a feature that does grant it immunity to such an effect.
Okay then. Never mind.
So
okay.
that's all I will say to that.
Okay. I tried.
But for the time being,
Well, I'm going last anyway. Or second last, I think.
the room it's a kind of a familiar sound. It sounds like gas of some kind of slowly beginning to fill in this small space.
Oh,
But
boy.
Trovik, it is your turn. You go first.
The armor must have pooted. And engage the rage.
You did say you were going to rage beforehand, so you can definitely do your rage.
All right.
So what do you got?
Let me roll for it.
But I'm willing to roll for it. I'm willing to roll for it.
Wild Surge.
Dice doesn't discriminate.
You know my heart, Surge. Okay.
That was a good one.
1.
Oh!
It says it right in front of me, too. Ooh, I get this. Yeah, this is a good one.
1. What's 1 again?
Alright, so as I rage, I'll explain it. Did
Sure, go for it.
Shadowy tendrils lash around me. And each creature of my choice that I can see within 30 feet must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take a 1d12 necrotic damage. And I also gain 1d12 temporary hit points.
Nice.
Very cool.
That went off before the combat started, and it is now your turn. You start.
All right. I am going to lash my tentacles at it. Roar, boo, moo.
It's a Constitution saving throw.
Yep.
All right. The tendrils kind of lash at the armor and they just kind of like whip it, and it makes impact, but there is no reaction, no response.
Oh crap.
The tendrils don't seem to have any effect on it.
On the
Okay.
what?
On the armor.
If it like goes through, or
No, they make contact. The shadowy tendrils kind of lash out like you've seen before. They kind of almost like touch and graze, and in the past that he's done this particular wild magic belly effect, they almost like pierce through or lash about, and there's like contact, and it looks as though it kind of like burns or leaves a mark. But here it just kind of like makes contact against this armor, and it does not respond, does not react in any way.
All right, that's my action. Bonus action. Yeah, that's it. Can't really do much.
Right.
I will move one here, just outside of the cusp of the gas.
Okay.
And then my turn.
All right, it's go.
Oh, and I got 3 hit points out of the 1d12 that I rolled.
Better than a kick in the pants.
Yeah, I'll take it.
The armor kind of, it draws its blade. It gets whipped by these tendrils, and then it just, without even looking, just takes a swing at you, Azazel.
Cool.
That is a 17.
I'm gonna cast Shield.
All right. What does that bring your AC up to now?
Since I'm not in my blade song, it brings me to 20.
20. Just kind of like bounces off your shield, just like, and it looks like a regular longsword of some kind. But then it takes it in 2 hands, looks at you, and tries to go for like almost like a harder swing to break through your magical shield.
Oh, don't do
Nope.
that.
And again, bounces right off of it. No impact. Nothing. But that ends its turn. It stays stagnant. Holds its ground. But Azazel, it is your turn. However, at the start of your turn, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me. As you are currently in this space where this gas is being quickly spouted out of the walls.
Okay. $14.
14. Yeah, that is a success. I can see the number. So you take half damage. You take 12 points of poison damage.
Oh, that was half.
That was half.
Cool.
It is your turn.
Cool. It sure is. I am going to go into my blade song first.
Blade song.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. And cool. And then I'm gonna take the attack action. For the first attack, though, it's gonna be a shocking grasp.
All right.
And I think I get advantage because this thing's made of metal. I get advantage if they're wearing metal armor. I don't know if we translate that to a metal being.
Normally, yes. However, you go to touch this plate of armor with your lightning-based spell, and the lightning just kind of like courses through it. And again, no impact, no response.
Ah, shit. I think it's magic proof. Hold on, and I'm going to swing my sword at it then. This is
Okay,
what I was testing.
Go for an attack.
There you go.
Nice. 26 to hit.
26 definitely hits.
Nice, nice. 7 piercing damage.
7 piercing damage.
And then
That's
right.
it. I don't have any additives on this one.
You go to strike, you go to touch it with your lightning attack, and you kind of like grab onto the greave or the gauntlet of the arm, and there's no reaction. It kind of just shoves your hand off, and you just go to swing. You hit onto the hand, and the hand impacts, kind of make like a small little indentation. It doesn't have a major impact. Oh no, wait, you have a magic weapon, don't you?
I do.
Yes. So yeah. I had to remember that. Yeah, you definitely hit on it. It does cause an indentation because the damage is normal.
Okay, yeah, this thing's definitely magic proof. Oh boy. I'm gonna risk taking a hit to step out of the danger zone because that's a lot of poison.
All right, it is going to make an opportunity attack against you. 24, even with your shields. As you're rushing out, it almost like it follows you for a moment and then just goes for a thrust. It was using 2 hands, so that will be, stop rolling, 14 points of slashing damage.
Oh,
As it
boy.
just kind of like nicks the back of your your torso into like your hip area, and you're just like, oh, as you rush away from the gas, as you're like coughing a little bit. Does it end your turn? Shit.
My whole game strat is using magic to make my attacks better. Ah, that's my turn. I'm like,
Alright,
Shocking Grasp won't work, Booming Blade won't work, Fire Shield won't work. Oh my god.
Well, you don't know. So far, you guys use two things. You use Dispel Magic and Shocking Grasp, and your necrotic attack, and those don't seem to work.
I don't want to burn through my everything.
One way to find out. But Lark, it is your turn. Moon, you're on deck.
I am going to cast Bless at second level, which means it'll get all four of us.
Oh, nice.
All right. All of you are now blessed.
Right,
Yes.
writing that down.
And I am backing away a little because I don't want to get too close to this thing or the poison.
Okay, it's a poison and steel type, which means earthquake will be quadruple effective.
Maybe.
Wait, it's floating. Shit, it has the levitate ability.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I'm rendered useless. Right.
Yeah, I can't do anything because I cast the spell. Okay, never mind. I did move back. Okay. Yeah,
That
never mind.
ends your
I'm
turn?
done. Yep.
Moon, it is your turn.
Okay. Maybe I'll try punching it. Moon will approach up to here and say, "Excuse me, guys. Let me just scoot over here." And as I'm like scooching over in this spot, I will turn into a giant ape, which is huge.
Noise.
All right. So before you turn into a giant ape, because you enter this gassy cloud, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Remember that you also get an extra D4.
You do get an extra D4.
8.
Hmm.
I could also turn into a giant ape, but that's what I want for.
What's a D4?
That's a 19.
19. 19 is a success. You take half damage, which is 11 points of poison damage.
Okay.
And you turn into your giant ape.
So I'm casting polymorph on myself.
Okay. Beast,
Is how I'm becoming this ape.
Is it an actual giant ape?
Yep.
Giant ape
Giant ape is
7.
one of my favorite polymorph forms.
It's
Giant ape. There we go.
King Kong.
Jesus Christ.
That's why.
Right?
Excuse me,
Like,
here, let me
Trevic's
just scoot over.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
So
I just
Pardon
kind
me.
of imagine this tiny person pushing you, and as like she's pushing you, she's just growing,
I will say-
and it gets
Yeah.
hairy.
It's like Monster Girl from Invincible.
And he's doing the whale thing again.
oh geez. There we go. I'm just gonna
Sorry.
how can
Put
I
it right here. Don't mind if I do.
I'm going to just grab Trovik for a second and move him out of the way.
Hmm.
But Trovik and Azazel, you both get like shoved out of the way
Yeah.
as
okay.
Boone becomes this giant monkey that's filling the space in itself. It's tight. You can move, but you're filling every like majority of the space within this hallway now. And all you hear is like this coughing ape.
And yeah, that's my turn.
All right.
Coughing Ape is
well,
the name of my new film
I'll go
studio.
like kind of like just lower a bit, as to say like you guys can like get on me if you want.
Okay.
Weird.
Top. Don't be weird about it. God.
You know, when you're
Top.
like your dad, and you like kind of get like lower on your knees to like,
Yeah.
come on, hop
Come on, kids.
All right. Top of the round. The gas continues to fill the room as it begins to spread a little bit further. But Trovik,
Hell
it's your
yeah.
turn.
I'm going to leap through as however I have to do it. I am getting right up close and personal in this armor's face.
Okay, you kind of like squeeze and force your way through.
Excuse me, pardon me.
I will have you make a Constitution saving throw for me.
With bless.
Yes.
With bless.
Constitution. Ooh, +5. Yeah, I'll use it. So D4, right?
Yep.
So 15. Ugh. 16.
16 is a success. You take half damage with 9 points of poison damage.
All right, so I'll take the 3 off. So 6 damage. Cool. All right, and then I am going to reckless slay this thing as much as I can, as best I can with the bloody X.
All right, go for it. Just don't forget to add your rage rage bonus to the damage if you hit it.
Hell yeah.
And it's a +1 to your attack bonus.
Excellent. All right, so here's one swing. Oh yeah. Does 27 hit?
Yeah, definitely hits.
Oh, good. Okay. Damage, here it comes. That's 10 plus 2, so 12 slashing damage for the first hit.
Well, that's sure it's not more. Hang on, let me check.
I
feel like it's more.
low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I feel like
low.
it's low.
It was, I rolled a 6 on a d12, and then +4 is 10, and then +2 for the rage.
+2 for rage. We'll check the axe. Yeah. All right. 12 points of slashing damage.
But that's okay, because I have another one coming. Oh, and because I have slasher
you can see
feet,
that. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I reduced his speed by 10 feet, like he's gonna be moving anyway with Big Gorilla.
All right. You come down with your great axe, and out of nowhere, kind of like the parts of the plates begin to form like a large shield to try and block it from the other side, but you just careen into the shield and kind of like protrude through it enough that you kind of crush its arm in. Does definitely have an impact against it and just kind of shifts in place, but it's still floating and holding its ground.
Okay,
That's your first attack.
Yep, I am perturbed. I want them out of way. Here we go. Babies. Ooh. Natural 20. Oh, this is fun.
Ooh.
This is fun.
So that is, that's a
28.
D12 plus 4 is 16 plus 2 is 18 points of damage. Now re-roll it without the modifier.
All right.
So roll another D12.
Ugh, a 1. Oh, so 3.
So 3, so 21 points of slashing damage. Again, you kind of like do like a second pull back, lift it back up towards the lower part of the hilt and just bring it down with more momentum.
However, with a critical hit, the slasher feat, I grievously wound it. And until the start of my next turn, the target has disadvantage on all attack rolls.
Oh, yo.
So against you, it's a straight roll, but it's disadvantage against everybody else.
Yep. And I also have a different feat too, which is why I wanted the crew get really close.
Fair enough.
All right, that's my turn.
Right.
Bonus action, smile.
Bonus action, smile.
Hey.
All right, it's
Put that on a
the
t-shirt.
armor's. It's the armored's turn. Armor, piece of armor, suit of armor, whatever.
The helmed
It's just kind of. The shield kind of like goes away for a moment. It grabs both, and it's gonna just make 2 attacks against you because you just freaking wrecked its day.
Yes. All right.
Straight roll. First one is a 23.
With disadvantage, or
That's a straight roll.
disadvantage makes it straight.
Yeah, you gave it disadvantage, but it has
Oh,
advantage
that's right,
because you reckless attack.
Yes.
So it's a straight roll.
Straight roll. Okay.
So
yes,
you attack
totally
without
hits.
wreck.
Make
Make a more wreckful attack next
so
time.
8 points of slashing damage on the
Okay.
first strike,
Alrighty.
and the second one, I don't think a 13 hits.
13 is my armor class.
13 just hits.
Yeah, I have no armor.
All right, that's 6 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
So it takes 2 strikes at you because you're standing there in the corner and you can't really go anywhere. It's like,
Yeah. This is okay. Is that all you got? Stupid armor floater.
it doesn't seem to respond. But that's the end of its turn. Zazel, it is your turn.
Cool. I am going to
Actually,
run
I do.
up this.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll make the saving throw, but I want to run up this gorilla's back
All right.
and like jump off its shoulder, and then as I'm falling, I want to do a stab with a booming blade, and then land and do a second stab. That's my whole thing right now, and I'll inhale poison on the way there. I'll make that con save real quick.
I stood in it, but I didn't inhale.
I get a D4, yeah?
Yes, you do.
Nice. Nice. 18.
Sorry, what's the total?
18.
18 is a success. You take 10 points of poison damage on a success.
Oh, man.
That's crazy to think. Like that hurts. The poison hurts if you
Yeah,
fail.
I
kill
think
it
the
this
lowest I
turn.
rolled was against Trovic.
Ooh,
Nice.
crazy.
So my two
Yeah.
attacks.
All right,
The
your two
first
attacks.
one's a booming blade.
Okay.
So the sword attack. I forget. Does bless add to attack rolls? Yes, no?
It does, yes.
36.
It's not
Yeah.
ability checks.
Yes, it does. It doesn't add to damage, but it does add to hits.
Cool.
It adds 2 hits, so you get 1 more. Just kidding.
Oof. Yikes. That's only a 16.
16 does not hit. You rush up inhaling this poison and coughing, and the coughing's kind of like the pain in your lungs, and you come down with the booming blade, and it's able to block it with the shield as it kind of like reassembles in front and just blocks your weapon for a moment.
So much for seeing if thunder damage did anything. Okay, regular sword attack.
All right.
Ayah!
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 You need to put
God
more
damn
boom in
it.
it next time.
Is that still that's another 16.
Fortunately, 16 does not hit.
Cool.
You come down and you're like grasping your lungs and your chest, and it's just kind of floating there, and you just go for an like a horizontal slash across the chest piece, the torso, and it just kind of scrapes.
You realize this does kind of look like an old 1980s Nintendo game with like Donkey Kong at the top. If you look at the thing, it looks like a tree. It's just like this Donkey
Kind
Kong
of.
like throwing the barrels down at Lark. Lark's like,
Save us, Lark!
yes, save us.
At the end of my turn, I'm just gonna yell back, "Hey, Lark! When you get a second, I could really use some healing," and that's my turn.
All right. Lark, it is your turn.
She holds on to her holy symbol and she leans back and her eyes go silver and mass healing word.
All right.
Mother has arrived.
Yes, exactly. So
Mom's
let's see what we
here.
get.
We're safe.
Ooh,
Mom keeps picking me up. I'm scared.
you guys all get 18 hit points back.
Wow!
Yep.
Wow.
I have a plus 11.
That's cray
That's
cray.
awesome.
That's
And I rolled a
ridiculous.
3 and a 4, so yeah, not too bad.
Ooh.
Now that is a bonus. So
Damn.
that is a bonus. So I believe I can do a
Can do a cantrip.
I can do a cantrip. So you know what? I'm going to sacred flame the thing. The hit DC is 16. So it has to roll a dex saving throw.
Mask Cure Wounds. I don't think that's actually a bonus action spell.
Dio.
It is a bonus.
Is it really?
Don't look
It's a
down, but
bonus
there's
action.
There's
Yeah.
a cup on your face.
It says bonus action right
All right.
here. Yeah.
It's a mimic.
Mass cure wounds or healing word?
Oh, mass healing
sorry, it's
word.
mass healing word. Yes.
I'm like, mass cure wounds. I'm
No,
pretty sure
It's
that's an
it's
action.
mass healing word, which is a
Okay.
4th level spell, so it's not nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused there. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you can definitely do a cantrip as an action.
So I am going to cast Sacred Flame at the thing, and it needs to make a DC 16 Dex save.
Dun, 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 dun. Ayo!
I mean, this is probably going to do nothing, but it's radiant damage.
That is a 14.
Nope. Okay, so it
Fifth.
maybe takes another 10 points of radiant damage.
Yeah, 10 points of radiant damage.
Yeah.
Oh,
You fire off just past the gorilla, just with this little radiant flame, just kind of flings and hits it right in the helm piece in the face. Like, just kind of leaves a bit of like a strange scorch mark at the face piece.
Does it look like it did anything?
It did some damage.
Okay.
Yay!
Radiant does some damage. Okay. Got it. That's it for me. Unless I'm moving back a little as the poison starts filling more of the hall.
Oh boy.
I'm going to move a little back.
Move
Because
a little back. Move a little
yeah.
back.
You're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god.
A little back, y'all.
and that's it for me.
All right, that ends your turn. Moon, it is your turn. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
With another D4.
Mm-hmm.
literally God's blessed cleric.
Yeah.
She's kind of floating in the air right now.
You and the armor are kind of floating in space.
Just a
on
little.
opposing sides.
Yeah. Wind in her hair.
You're just picking up
Tunnel's drafty.
all of a sudden. Although the armor looks like it's shaking in place a little bit, and you're just kind of like, I am here to smite you, bitch. What do you got for me, Moon? You're muted.
That's a 15.
15 is a success. You take 13 points of poison damage.
Ooh. I think that was the worst.
She's got a shit ton of HP, so she's good.
Yeah.
I'm a
Disposable.
giant ape, so
Alrighty.
okay, we're good.
Ape in a
Alright, so
tree.
I'm gonna do 2 fist attacks, 2 punches.
The druid casts
Does
fist.
13 hit?
13 does not hit.
And does 21 hit?
21 hits.
Okay.
So the first one, it catches with its shield, but that side's already blocked, and you kind of grab onto the shield, pull it aside, and with your other fist, you just nail it right in the face.
And
Where
I
the
do
face would
20
be.
bludgeoning damage.
20 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah.
Do you defeat this thing?
Do I defeat this thing?
It's up to you.
I'd like to.
All
I'm
right.
gonna kind of goes to punch it, but kind of just like a can of Coke or beer that you kind of squish.
Oh,
the
okay.
metal.
Instead of going to
That's
punch
kind
it, you
of
go to face palm it.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of we're done with this now.
You pull the shield aside, and you go for and punch instinctively, and just boop it on the face, essentially, with so much force, and you cave the helm in to the bit of the cavity of the torso. Just gonna, and the sword drops. The shield kind of you're still holding on to a portion of it. It begins to shatter to pieces, and you watch as the armor slowly the light dims, and the pieces just go just fall into pieces along the floor. And you are out of combat.
Rich says, bonus action, fling poo. I agree.
Okay, so where is the poison coming from, and can you hit that?
The poison is still in this space right here.
Yeah.
But as soon as the piece of armor, the suit of armor, kind of falls to pieces and destroyed, you get this wave of magic energy that gets disrupted and kind of like spreads out. And you can see that the gas begins to stop spewing from the spouts in the along the door and along the wall. Just kind of
Okay.
stops.
What's
But
the
it's still
wall built made of?
The wall is built of stone. Or you're currently walking through a stone hallway. The floor is partially tiled or at least smoothed out so that it's a flatter surface. The poison is still there for the time being. Also, I also forgot. I need you to make a concentration check for me.
Who?
Because you are Moon, because she's concentrating on polymorph. I think you'll be fine.
Mm.
Well, I hold for the last damage. You mean like I'm getting hit more?
Well, it would have been
Yeah.
for it's fine. It's retroactively. It's to see if you lose the polymorph or not. But the poison is still there.
It's also
just
with
not
the giant
pouring in.
ape's constitution, so you're
Yeah.
probably fine.
You should be okay.
Yeah, just because I already made one con check at the last damage that you gave me.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanted another one.
I'll get you to make another one now. The rest of you, are you all leaving this space, or are you just gonna sit there?
Yeah, I'll
that's
step out.
not
I'll
good.
step out of the poisonous cloud for a second.
That sounds like a plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I'm walking out, I'll
That
just
did
say
not
like,
roll good.
as I'm walking out, I'll just say like, the doctor's got a shit receptionist.
What is What is?
If that's what's blocking the door, I have no idea what we're walking into.
All of you
Fine,
kind
I
of
barely
like
used any spells.
hold for a moment, and you're rushing away from the gas as it slowly begins to dissipate, but it's stagnant for a moment. But however, Moon kind of like, as the giant ant begins coughing so much that she turns back into her ASMR self.
Then
And
I
it
get
takes
out of there.
it takes a moment, but you watch as it slowly begins to diminish. And then eventually, is there multiple? There we go.
I had
And
a
then
booming
eventually
blade
just-
circle at some point, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think we can open the door now.
Yeah, the armor pieces are scattered across the door, across
Wait.
the floor.
We should
I
check
kick him.
it.
I
for...
kick him over to the side.
You should check it for traps, Redman.
I feel
You have
like
a-
this was the trap.
Yeah.
Good point. But still, never trust doors.
How are you all feeling?
Drovik feel great. Did you see how much ass kicking Drovik did?
Yes, it was very good ass kicking. Well done, all of you.
Tentacles go back inside.
Here, have
Magic
a
Belly.
cookie. You deserve one.
I will have one of the tentacles take the cookie. Ah.
I'm gonna check the door for traps real quick, because why not?
All right, make an investigation check.
Baba booey.
Bubba booey, bubba booey.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. It is not trapped. It is
Cool.
locked, though.
I don't know how to pick locks. Does anyone know how to do that? Huh. Is this just like a
Well,
solid
I can
wood
try.
door? Is there a window looking through?
Solid wood door. There is a latch to open and close it.
Try to open it.
Of course, you guys can't hear me. I have my mute on. You say it's locked? Locked? Like, okay. Drovik will smack the shit out of it with the axe.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think we've announced ourselves.
feeling good about whacking things with
I
X.
feel like the alarm that we triggered was dude already.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Don't
Oh,
think we
hit-
have
yeah,
surprise
sure.
going for
Make an
us.
attack roll.
All right.
I will keep the bless up as long as I possibly can, but
27.
you tell me when it
What,
ends.
like 10
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah, 26. Definitely hits.
Yep.
Roll for damage.
All right. That's not great. 9.
Are you still raging?
Well, I guess if it hasn't dissipated yet, I'm still raging.
So
I
that's what,
should have
plus
used
2?
advantage, but it was such a high roll.
It's all good. It's enough to break the lock, leaving the door exposed. You kind of like take a good chunk out of the door. You embed your axe in there.
Mhm.
The lock kind of snaps and is just hanging there, but it's like your axe is now also embedded in the door.
Oh shit.
You free it out, takes a second,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a good chunk of the door missing
Good.
where the handle is.
I give my best. This one. Here's Trovik.
But the door is now open.
All right.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You know what I love about that trivia? The "Here's Johnny" line was already a pop culture reference to something else, but now in our current pop culture mind, we only think of The Shining with "Here's John." We don't know the previous. I don't know personally the previous pop culture reference that it was referencing that now we reference in our current pop culture references, which is the craziest thing to me. Anyway,
That's
Pop
crazy.
cultureception.
Nice.
I think my brain just short circuited.
you're welcome.
Johnny Carson. Just
All right.
for you younger.
It seems as though the
Oh
door
yeah, that's
is
what it
open
was.
at
It was
this
Johnny.
point.
Gosh, I can't believe I.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep. Here's Johnny.
I know Johnny. I don't know Johnny Carson, but like we have a theater named after him here
don't
because
understand, but that's okay.
he was here.
That's
This is
pretty
where he's
good,
from.
Chris.
Why, thank you.
Through the door.
We're going, yes, through door. Hey, and I look around.
Look around.
Every now and then.
Go through. You kind of pass through this small. I'll just pause it for a second. You pass through like this small little. It seems to be like a series of like a section of wall past this doorway. It's a little dark in the entryway, but as soon as you go through, you can see a wall ahead of you. And using the map to pretty much what you see, immediately to your left and right, as Hazel, you notice looks to be two different rooms. Off to your right, it looks as though it could be some sort of storage area. There are a series of shelves with numerous items, mixture of like foods, canisters, containers, boxes, whatnot, kind of placed in a neat fashion around the room itself. And it looks as though the hall, it kind of extends further ahead. And on the left, it's almost identical in terms of the layout. However, this is more of like a living space. There's a couch. It looks to be some sort of armoire, a clock, and another chair, and a
Waiting
nice
room.
little. Yeah.
All right, I'll step in. Take my steps right into the center of the room. I can't move though.
I'm gonna start walking to the storage area and start
All right.
investigating.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, like right there. That's a good place.
All right, Trovik, you kind of like quickly walk through,
What is that?
and as you walk into the furthest room, you're like, I'm gonna go beeline it in there. All right. You walk past the area that Azazel was looking, and it looks as though there's another room around, and there's one to your left, and like it's almost like this weird four-way cornered area, like that divides into four separate rooms. As you go into this one off to the far right, you look and you can see like a couple of desks, some bookshelves, a giant tiger-like creature, a chandelier, giant tiger-like creature, and it's just standing there, kind of like slowly moving. It stops as you like quickly approach.
Yeah.
He just looks at you and just like,
Shit. What the shit is that?
we're gonna roll initiative again.
Hey, guys. Guys.
Hold up.
I'm investigating.
Question for DM. This is one that I've been wondering.
Yep.
Would my rage would have dissipated by then, right?
Yeah, after it would have
Yeah.
been more than
Okay.
6 seconds.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
A
Then
minute. So.
yeah, I will engage the rage again as we roll initiative. Danger sense, baby. 17.
I got a 15.
I did not do good.
One.
Oh no.
I feel like it half updates and half of you it doesn't. So I gotta like manually.
Yeah,
do
sorry
different
about that.
ones.
I don't know
Matthew,
why
would
mine's
1
not...
minute have passed?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder
Okay.
if it's...
I
Why,
have to go to the Blade song again.
Yeah, and I have to
I would
recast Bless.
I would say just be on the cusp of it. How about that?
Yeah.
You got like maybe another round or two of it.
Oh, I don't like that either.
For both of us, or
Yeah. So anything you
Okay.
guys are concentrating on, your abilities and whatnot, I would say the only one it would matter would be Trovic because his relies on a turn-by-turn basis and he has to hit something or take damage. But we begin combat. Round 2, it seems.
Yeah.
As this large
Yeah.
tiger-like creature, as Trovic, that you see.
we're
as
gonna
you
have nothing
approach-
left for the doctor.
We are taking
That's
rest
the whole point.
Yeah.
right after this big rat.
Azazel, it is you. You begin, then Lark, then this creature, then Trovic, then Moon.
What?
Yeah, what's up, Trovic? What's going on? Oh my god!
Yeah. How did,
Okay.
How did Moon beat me in initiative?
Ah.
No, she didn't.
Oh no, I had 8.
So what's the initiative then? Sorry.
It's Azazel. I have 21.
Oh, 7, sorry.
Lark and the creature go side by side at 15. Trovic at
Yeah.
13. Moon at 7.
Yeah, I got 17. If you,
No, because you always you roll at advantage.
yeah, I.
Oh, okay, so it's
It's-
So I guess
17.
It's in the
maybe
game.
15.
Yeah, it's in the game log. I got 17.
All right, let me adjust.
Sorry, I should have spoke louder.
There we go.
Thank
so
you.
it's Azazel, Trovic, Lark, then the creature, then.
Much
All right.
better. Okay.
But Azazel,
Much better,
you
much
begin
better.
the round.
Cool. I'm gonna run up and do my booming blade short sword combo, baby.
Baby. All right, you walk into the room, you see Trovic kind of like standing there going, you see this tiger-like creature with, it's fairly large for a tiger. It's green and red and blue and has this large eye for a tail. And you can notice that its eyes itself are just pupilless and
Oh.
almost like it's blind.
Oh, you look really weird, buddy.
And you're just
Okay.
like, you go for a strike.
17?
17 hits.
Oh, thank God. Thank good golly gosh.
Like
So that's 10 piercing damage and then 4 thunder damage.
All right. You hit it and you cut into the body and you can see the booming energy kind of like hold in place and kind of shake around the wound and just like.
All right,
starts
let's do
growling
one
at
more
you.
then. And we'll do another short sword attack. That's a dirty 20 to hit.
Did that look like it damaged it?
It did. Dirty
Okay.
20 does hit.
6 points of piercing damage.
6
Damage.
points of damage. All right.
And I don't want to try and run away from this thing, so that's my turn.
All right. Trovic, it is your turn.
All right, I'm going to the engaging of the raging, and let me roll that first. It is always so hard to find. Come on, Chris
so
Reed.
hard to find.
Okay. Wait, watch Urge. There we go. All right, on table. Ooh, a 2. What's that? Ooh, nice. I teleport. So without even having to move my hooves, I just blink to the back of this thing on the opposite end of Azazel. So like, bada boom, bada bing, right there.
Kind of like magic spirit belly, and
Yeah.
you just vanish and reappear at the opposite side.
Yeah, you just hear
Okay.
a and yeah. So that's bonus. Yeah, 2 actions, reckless, swinging of the axes.
All right, go for it.
X me. Ooh, 27.
26 hits. Yep, 27.
All right, and then
Ask me a question, don't you ever cleave.
He's with the ones. I find living in the tower in the hiding. That's a 5, so 2. Oh wait, no, that is. Yeah. Wait,
1 plus 4 is
4
5 plus 2 is
7.
7.
Yeah, I don't know
So
why
7.
it's not adding it right. Oh, total damage 7. Okay. Yep. Ouch.
7 points of slashing damage with your first attack. You kind of like cut into the back of its hind leg.
Yeah. And then I'm going to try to aim for this eye and try again. Wait.
Okay.
The tail eye is booty.
Yeah.
His brown eye. I'm aiming for his brown eye. There it is. That's what
God.
I was trying to get. All right. 23.
23 hits.
All right, sorry. I had to get it out. Oh. That's a little bit. 11, 13.
13 points of damage. All right. Slash.
Yep. And that's it.
You're carving into its backside. That ends your turn. Lark, it is your turn. You are still concentrating on Bless.
Okay.
Just so I remember.
Oh, we're
So-
so blessed.
Yeah, I need to move to a place where I can actually see what's going on.
That's right. As it sounds, all you heard was, "Oh God!" And then you hear, then you hear a lot of growling noises.
Oh,
And
wow.
you're just like,
Okay.
"Oh God!"
Okay, so I can see it now.
Yes.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I am going to cast Spiritual Weapon right next to it.
Okay.
And that spiritual weapon then attacks because
Nope.
it is a bonus action, so it gets to go.
What can I use? 'Cause you don't
Tune in
have that
next time
anymore.
for Lark in the Dark.
Lark in the dark.
Okay, so let me just see. Spiritual
Here,
weapon.
let's use this flying sword as your spiritual weapon.
Okay.
Then you go for an attack.
Okay. I am going to attack.
Your spectral ethereal frying pan appears next to it and just
Oh, and I get a D4 myself, right?
Yep.
So
I
we'll
believe
see.
all 4 of you are blessed.
We'll see. Oh, I think that's a 14.
14 unfortunately does not hit as
Yeah.
the frying pan just kind of slams into the
Okay.
upper shoulders
I
and
tried.
seems to be a sturdier part of the body of the creature.
Okay. Never mind me. That is it for me.
That is your bonus action. You still have an action.
I'm gonna try and Sacred Flame it then.
Sure.
So it has to roll a Dex 16 saving throw.
Dex 16. Okay. Okay. Where is 11.
It failed. So it takes 14 points of radiant damage.
All right. It's going to use its reaction. As you see the eye, that is what it is, its tail. This strange appendage. It almost absorbs it.
Ooh.
Deals no damage to it.
At all?
And just focuses it right back at you and fires it back at you.
Oh, great.
You need to make your own dex saving throw.
Oh,
That was
okay,
like-
that's gonna suck. Okay, let's see. So it's a Dex saving. This is going to be pathetic. Okay, and then I also get a D4.
Yeah, you're blessed, right? There you go.
Yeah. So I believe
I
I
think that's
can't
a
remember.
14.
You believe you can
Yeah, I think I missed it.
fly? I
14.
believe I can try.
14 is a
Ah.
failure.
Yep.
So you take
Yeah.
the equivalent of the damage you dished out, which was
Oh
I think
my
14
God,
radiant
yeah.
damage.
Yep.
Oh,
And I need you to make a concentration check for me. For
Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Okay. So that sucked.
Verge.
Didn't I know something was going to happen? Okay. And now I make a, what is it? Constitution? do I have
You
to-
can make
For
a roll a
concentration?
d20 and add your con modifier.
At least you can't see it
You have to
happening.
be
It's a con saving throw.
Because you're in the dark.
yeah, more or less.
And I lost it. So yeah, there goes our, that was unexpected. There goes our bless. We're
Well,
gone.
unfortunately, the bless is dropped.
That's it. Okay. Ow. Okay. Now I'm mad.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Mama mad.
All right. Does that end your turn?
Yep.
All right. It's the creature's turn.
The frying pan is still there.
The frying pan is still there because it's not a concentration spell.
No.
However, it's let's see what to do. It's going to make 2 claw attacks to start. It goes for 1 swipe against Azazel, as it hit him in the face with his sword. That is a 15.
Miss.
Goes to swipe, you deflect it with your blade, and it's kind of like does like almost like a back kick towards to Trovic.
Oh,
However, it
shit.
is at advantage because of a reckless.
Oh shit.
Ooh, which was, I don't know if it was a good thing or not. 12.
Hey, misses.
It's like it's still hurting from where you hit it, so it's 2 claw attacks. However, yeah, it can still see you, Lark, as it just looks at you, and you can see like the eyes begin to glow a very muted yellow, and you see like this almost like out of nowhere, this energy just comes flying at you.
Is it casting spell?
It is technically a ranged spell attack.
I am going to use my Mage Slayer and attack it.
All right.
I say,
does
naughty,
it-
naughty.
Remind me, does it stop the attack if it hits,
It.
or does it just keep going? 'Cause that's one of those rare feats that I
Yeah.
don't get a chance to use very often.
It's just whenever it casts a spell, I can use my reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the creature, and when you damage a creature that is concentrating on the spell, the creature has disadvantage on the saving throw.
Ah, okay. So, Lark, I don't think 11 hits you.
No, it doesn't, thankfully.
All right. So it just Trovic kind of like quickly it sees, I don't know, for whatever reason, that last hit, it was trying to focus on you, and it just felt the pain and it misses, and you watch like this magical energy just kind of impact the wall next to you and just kind of like, but make your reaction attack to hit.
That's you, Trovic.
Yep. All right, here we go, babies. Regular roll.
Dun, 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 dun.
Really? 17 because of the 1+1 for the axe.
17 hits.
Ooh, okay, good. Roll on these dice. All right, 12 slashing damage.
12 slashing damage. And you take another swipe at it, and that's what causes it to miss and just impact the wall. Moon, it is your turn.
Yay. Okay, so I can't really see anyone from here, but I can hear the chaos that is.
Yeah, you're just kind of like in the living room area, and then all of a sudden you hear all this yelling and fucking growling noises. You walk into the next room, and it's like, your
Oh,
friends are just attacking this giant tiger-like creature.
that doesn't look too good. Are you guys okay? So it's a tiger. It's just like a tiger-like creature, and there's nothing else to
It
it.
looks like a tiger. It's maybe 3 times the size of a regular tiger. However, it's like green, blue, and red, and has a giant eye for a tail as an appendage.
Is it wearing any armor?
It is not.
I will cast. Yeah. Call lightning.
Okay.
No, that's not safe. All right, I'll conjure animals.
Oh no, hit me
Okay.
with lightning. It'll be funny.
Absorb elements.
Just like
I never get to use that spell.
Yeah, because it worked so well with Moonbeam last
Yeah.
time.
Listen, man. I learned my lesson. I did my time.
All right, what are you summoning this time?
Can I get 2 wolves? 2 giant wolves.
I'll have a number 2, please.
2 dire
Would you like to
wolves?
supersize that?
Yeah, 2 dire wolves.
Jeez.
Jeez, those wolves are dire.
I don't know if they're even going to fit in the room, but
In a
they're
dire
roughly the
need.
same size as this giant tiger-like creature. Yeah, you summon 2 dire
God,
wolves.
druids are
Can
crazy.
I have one summoned
Right?
on the other side?
About here?
So like, yeah, and then the other one underneath Trovic.
It won't really fit.
That's all. Okay, I just want them both within reach of it, basically. So
We'll say,
put
like,
that
You can
wolf
squeeze
up
them
Put
there.
it, and
right
it's
there
like
and there,
you
yeah.
summon it, and it ends up crushing and knocking over 2 of the shelves with all these books under its
That's
weight. And it's
fine.
just like,
Awesome. Sorry about
Yeah.
your books.
And then
Sorry
they
about
will
your books,
attack.
ma'am.
and then they go attack.
Yeah.
All right.
They have advantage because they have allies nearby.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
This is the public library. Read the sign.
19 plus 5, 24 to
Okay.
hit.
24 hits.
Nice.
Okay, that's for one of them. 2d6. That's 6, so that's 9 piercing damage. And then DC 13 strength saving throw.
Ooh.
That is a fail at an 11.
Hey.
Nice, so it's knocked prone.
Mhm.
Damn.
And then the second wolf will attack for a 17 to hit.
17 hits.
For 9 damage again.
Nice.
Another 9 points of piercing damage.
Yay.
However, it is
Well,
already
it's still on the
prone.
ground, so.
So yeah, these 2 dire wolves just appear. One crushes 2 bookshelves. The other
Wow.
one spawns behind you, Azazel, and they both start howling as they move in.
They both go and like bite at it, like tack tack.
One
like,
of the first one kind of
shoves him
bites
on
at
the ground.
Yeah, at its one of its hind legs and pulls it out from under its own feet and knocks to the ground. The other one just kind of bites into the back of its neck. And now it's just a series of these giant animals just attacking each other on the ground. This big
Oh,
dog
jeez.
pile.
Moon is looking a lot more like Araya now.
All right, that ends this round, and we'll start at the top of this initiative order on the next session.
These are just my Game of Clones.
Whoa!
Nice.
Oh
I
boy.
will do my
What a
best to
session.
remember all this,
Yeah.
but yeah. Welcome to the lab.
Woo!
Or at least
I'm very
the
glad that
first
Moon's on
room.
our side.
Yeah.
Yeah, goodness.
Deadly is.
Oh, boy.
I forget how fun summoning spells are.
Yep.
I kind of want to play a
Right?
summoner sometime now. Dang.
they can be stupid
Yeah.
annoying though.
I'll make that Seto Kaiba
Yeah.
build one of these days.
Oh boy.
It's okay. I have another druid in a game that another game I run, and they
Just
yeah, they
so
like
many
to summon
tokens
the
and more
okay,
tools.
I want 8 of these, and it's just like, okay, where do you want them?
They're all going in
I
one
try to
turn.
not have more than 4 unless it's for like an RP thing. Just that way.
I don't. Here's the thing.
I would like a
won't-
swarm of 128 rats to carry me to my
Well,
bed.
it's also like a lot of work for me too to control like 8 beasts. And so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
alright,
Yeah.
unless
I
I
will-
need it.
I will admit it is very handy to have multiple allies on your side. It is just annoying to be like, okay, well, you now have 8 extra things that you have to take care of.
Yeah.
So roll all their attacks, do all their movement. Okay, next person's turn. But it's the nature of the spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
fun. I like
It's
it.
fun.
It's like when you use animate objects to bring like 10 daggers to life, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
Alrighty.
Yeah, I completely.
Should we
forgot
say
about that
goodbye to
spell.
people?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for coming and joining us
Did we say
tonight
goodbye to
and
people?
the beginning
Bye.
stages of this, dungeon crawl, it seems.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
through a dungeon, baby.
We hope you enjoyed, and
Let's
we will
go.
see you again next time.
Two
Lead us out,
weeks?
Chris.
Yes.
2 weeks time.
Thank you, folks, so much for sticking around and tuning in, putting up with my computer shenanigans, slowing everything down. Sadly, we had to play the second half without music, but it is okay. We'll get it sorted by next stream. So don't forget, we stream for Extra Life every time you see us on here, and you can donate by clicking the link below or in the About section. Please consider donating and helping out. It helps the kids, and it goes directly to your my local Penn State Children's Hospital. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow if you don't already, and be good to each other, be awesome, and beat hate with love.
Bye.
Goodbye.